Why, hello, hello. If anybody's here, echo, echo. Is anybody here? I'm just hanging around and being derpy today. I'm also still setting up. I decided to just do it. I think I put the notification up less than an hour ago. So if you're just wandering in, I am just getting things ready to go. I still have to go get my other camera hooked up. That one. It's not actually hard to do. It's just a lot of clicking. There we go. Now let's get down here to, which was that one? That one. I'm going to do it that way. God, you can see the mess behind me. That one, that one. Okay. And turn off the echo. Hi, Witchy Wallflower. I am still in the process of setting up now. Good, look at that's our doorway. Look at the stuff on the floor. Got a pair of shoes and that on the floor there, that right there on the floor is bags that we have to take back out to the car. They don't supply bags at the grocery stores anymore, which is a good thing. But then I have a big mess all the time. Anyway, I just set this up like an hour ago. I said I was gonna do my NSFW quilt on camera. I said I was gonna make sure that I do as much as I can on camera. And today is that part of the process where I have to get all my squares ready, and I do a quilt as you go process. So this actually takes longer than other stuff. Okay, no, I want that one on and that one off. There we go. Okay. Now, can you hear me okay? I am literally just dropping shit wherever shit happens to land and not worrying about life. There's Bruno. Making himself comfortable digging a hole to China while he makes himself comfortable underneath my ironing board. That's not too messy. It always looks super messy when you're the one that's got to clean it up, right? Anyway, I've got a bunch of fabric. That's not a cord. I'm like, what do I do with that cord? That is a piece of cord for drawstrings. Okay. Literally, you guys are just keeping me company. And we're going to shoot the shit about anything and everything. Obviously, I'm going to make sure you guys are aware of what I'm doing. I'm still setting up. So basically, I have pre-cut all my fabric to get started. Because you have to, if you're quilting, you have to cut it, you have to iron it. You have to get it all nice and flat before you go. So these are my top pieces. And I still have to trim all those up. These are my bottom pieces. Those are going to go over there. And this is where I'm going to lose my mind. So what's new and exciting? What, if anything, is new and exciting? So what I'm doing right now, this should make sense to everybody right now, right this minute. I am just trying to get, there you go, that piece is big enough. I literally have a big ass bag of scraps, And I'm going to go through my scrap first. This is the batting. This is the middle. I'm going through my scrap first before I start cutting the batting, because batting can get expensive. Hi, Trisha. Batting can get expensive. So I want the batting to, I want to use up my scrap first. I've got a big ass bag of it. Well, it's not that big. It's not that big, but I'm going to go through that first. And then, oh yeah, I've been busy cutting. I've been cutting all this up. Nanny B is the one who sent me this fabric. And I'm going to show this off right away. This Nanny B sent me this. Now the camera's showing it to be a little bit more blue than purple, but this is like got a lot of, this is maybe the other camera will show the colors better. Yeah, colors are better on the other camera. Isn't that awesome? Guess what this is? It's in there nice and tight because it's supposed to be. There's that one. And then you flip it over. Actually, I should leave them both on. So you've got the smaller, remember, I don't know if you guys remember me talking, because I talk about this shit all the time, about sometimes you need the smaller, finer stitch ripper instead of the bigger, heavier one. So you've got both sizes of stitch ripper on the same thing, and they just go away like that. And you know what else that you know what, I don't know if this is supposed to be a thing, but what occurred to me when I was looking at this, when you're turning your fabric, come on, get in there. I don't want to wreck it. When you're turning your fabric and need to push out your corners, this will make a nice corner tool, especially if you don't want your corners. Obviously, you want your corners to be nice and squared off. But if you're turning like when I'm turning a 2-pocket, I'm turning like 8 layers of fabric at the same time. This might be a great way to get it started. So yeah, it's also going to be helpful for turning fabric. But isn't this gorgeous? This is absolutely beautiful. This is, I'm assuming resin. So it's, yeah, it is beautiful. And it's going to live right here forever and ever and ever, because everybody needs a good stitch ripper. So what I'm doing here, I want, now sometimes when I'm doing this, I'll cut everything to 9 inches. I'm doing 9-inch squares, by the way. I've decided that I'm going to do the 9-inch squares. I already happen to have a 9-inch ruler, so it'll make it quick, easy, and convenient. I'm just going to do squares. I'm not going to do anything fancy with, pardon me, just a second. I had lunch today, so I decided I should stay hydrated because I'm probably going to be over here chatting for a few hours. Nanny also, she sent me the stitch ripper. She sent me all this fabric, and then she intended to send me the stitch ripper with the fabric, forgot to, and then in an act of extreme generosity, sent me the stitch ripper and some more fabric. Look at that one. So I've got Lisa has already demanded. She's already demanded certain projects. It's 2 people in here. Yeah, Trisha, that's exactly what I was thinking. It's like just having squares is good enough. The idea for this quilt is all about the fabric, not the design, right? And this one says, "Ew, people." So these 3 are going to at least be 3 more. I'm going to do these quilted with a layer of some kind of batting, probably just flannel, so that they can be I like doing tote bags that have a slight degree of insulation. I don't do insulated bags. That's just a level of work I don't want to put in. Yeah. I mean, I'm not antisocial. I'm anti-stupid. I love this one. There's lots of it. We all know that I'm going to have to do a giveaway with some of this. We all know that some of this is going to be a giveaway. So for sure. Right now I'm all about my quilt. So that's what I'm doing right now. That's just some of what she sent me. There was like There was like, I don't know how many there were. There were at least 10 to 12. I think there was more than that, like 14, 15, something like that. And I got so excited that I went, wee, and I sorted it all out. And then I realized that I realized that, hey, people would probably like to see this. Like I've got this one here now. I don't want to stir this up too much. This one is new. This one is new as of yesterday. Right? So that's going to be a lot of fun. Okay. That's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm doing all of my cutting for a quilt like it's amazing of her. For the kind of quilt that I am making, basically I'll get one ready. For the kind of quilt that I'm making, you do your squares with your top. This is called a quilt sandwich, where you take your top, your middle, and then your bottom piece over here. That's called a quilt sandwich when you put them all together like that, right? So what I am doing here, and then I will attach these all the way around. What I'm doing here is I have found personally, this is my personal process, that if I rough cut, which means just don't worry about getting it perfect. If I rough cut the square and then cut it and the backing and the batting at the same time, it's a much better fit. So I decided to get out I don't know. I'll save that and review later. Batting can get expensive, but after a certain point, saving even a scrap this big might. There's ways to use scraps that are this big, but sometimes after a certain point in time, saving your scraps kind of becomes a problem. So I'm just being schmancy. Generally speaking, I would cut several of these at the same time, and then come over and sew them down. Because with any fabric, this is what I'm working with. With any fabric, it can stretch, right? So I'm going to be doing a ton of these. I'm sure other people in the room who are quilting, or who have quilted might do it. Every time I spend 20 minutes explaining something, somebody else shows up and explains it in a single sentence. So there's that. But if I cut and then sew like right away, I can avoid shifting, because this goes on this. This goes on this. And then I'm going to quilt it down, right? And then I'm going to attach, then I'm going to have 56 of these. I'm going to do this. This is going to be 9-inch squares when I'm done. And I'm going to have 7. I'm going to go 7 by 8, and 8 times 7 is 56. I need 56 of these. That's going to be fucking fun. This is why once I get the first couple of samples out of my way, we're going to change the subject and just keep me distracted while we do this. So what I've done here, when this is done, I'm going to explain it, because I'm not doing it yet. Once this is done, I'm going to change my thread. Actually, I'm not changing my thread. I already have gray thread in the machine, but I'm not sure if it's the right color gray. This is okay. This is quilt as you go. This is why I'm sorting out my thread right now, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to quilt this as if it was a mini baby quilt. I'm going to make 56 of these. Then I'm going to connect them all together. So I cut this to get it to shape. I cut this to get it as square as I can, and I'm going to quilt it immediately so that it has less. Just leaving it. If I've tugged the fabric a little too much in one way or the other way, or I end up moving things around too much or whatever, this can end up stretching out of place, especially the quilting. The batting shifts. You look at it and it's shifting. It's doing all sorts of shit, right? I just realized though that I forgot to pick. So it's gonna have a gray back. It's gray and let me see my backing. Let me bring this up here. This is gonna be the back. So every single one of these squares is gonna have like, how big is the bottom fabric square? The bottom, okay, so this is 9, this I'm trimming to exactly 9 inches all the way around. This is going to, I do these oversized because I can't, these I can. This needs to have, so this is 9. This needs to be at least 11 by 11. And I always go at least 12 by 12. So this is what the back is going to look like. I think I need to get it in front of the other camera just to, okay, that's the design. That's what it will kind of look like. It's a little darker. It's a little darker than than this camera is showing things a tiny bit lighter. When I get it in front of the other camera, the design obviously doesn't change. So 9 by 9. What I'm going to do is switch my thread. Is this the same? No, this is not the same color. Okay, I'm switching. I'm using a gray, but this here's what I'm doing. I'm using a gray, and I can get away with a pretty wide range when it comes to the gray that I'm going to use. But the reality is that I've got way more of this one than I do of this one, so I don't have to go to the store if I make an adjustment. So I'm going to do that. I just checked my everything drawer, and I don't see the darker gray in there, but I knew I had more. I knew I had extra of this because I just used this is the color I also used for Lisa's. So I already knew that I had more than I. As a matter of fact, we picked up 2 or 3 extra just in case, because I can do that. Okay, what am I doing? I am distracting myself already. This is why you guys are going to keep me. Actually, that one can sit. I've got to make some bobbins. Well, I don't have to make a bobbin right this second. I'll do that first. Now, if you guys want, I can go get that. I can go get once I get this done. I can go get that puppy quilt. I've actually got a quilt in this basic already on my bed. It's just bigger, so I don't want. It's bigger and it's got the heavier batting, so I don't want to drag it around the house. If you are in a situation where batting is super freaking expensive for you, flannel, like flannelette, the type of flannel that they use for baby diapers, will give you a lighter summer feel for like a lap blanket or just something light that for a lighter blanket. A lighter blanket. I can say lighter blanket. Okay. I'm going in circles. I'm going to. You guys are if you guys aren't already used to that. Okay. So we're just gonna get over here. Batting is always rated. Batting. Whoa. See, I'm just not prepared. I am not prepared. I'm gonna put on my darning foot because I can. This is all I'm doing today. I'm just making the squares. I've got to do 56 of these. I'm not going to have time to attach them together. I might attach a couple just to show you guys how it's done. But then again, it won't matter once I get to it won't matter once I get to where I need to get at. So darning foot goes on. Okay. Darning foot goes on. Dish goes over here. Ideally, most people, and I agree, will tell you you do not have to go all the way to the edge here, because if you go past the edge, it can make it, if you end up having to trim something or adjust something or whatever. I'm one of those people that likes to start in the corner, and I bring my foot down, my foot back up. The camera's not picking this up. Bring your foot down and your foot back up one time. This makes quilting easier. You know how you get all those loose threads that you have to trim off, right? Of course, it didn't do it. It didn't do it because I thought it was going to do it. So take your thread. Oh, no, it is there. Okay. So you can move it a little bit out of the way if that works for you. But if you take it down, I'm going to do this one more time. I'm going to do this one more time because I can do this and it won't hurt anything. Come on. Why are you not doing it? Oh, let's go down. Oh, no, that's not going to affect any. Well, it will affect that, but my thread does not want to cut. Or did it cut? Let's see what's going on here. Probably because it's not detecting the foot being. Okay, let's cut it. I'm just in a corner of the middle of nowhere. And this is, okay, embrace the words boho and rustic. This design is amazing for that boho rustic look because a mistake on this kind of quilt is not a mistake, it's a feature. Okay. So I don't know if the camera's capable of picking this up. So we'll try again. We'll try again just so that you guys can see what happens. Of course, let's get down a little bit more. Okay, this is going to be hard to see, but basically what you're doing is you're holding this thread, okay? Not super tight. It's not a contest. You're rethreading your machine because you pulled your thread funny and then it shifted funny. Come on, get over there. Come on. Okay. So you're not holding, you're holding it. The only reason why you're holding this is because you want to be able to tug it. So you don't use your foot pedal. Just use the thing at the end and go down once, back up once. Okay. So what this has done is it's caught the bobbin just a tiny bit. So if you then pull it, and if it's tight, this one's a little bit tight, right? Move it just a little tiny bit more. Oh, did I fuck something up already? I fucked something up already. I'm trying to show you guys. Remember the other day I tried to break a machine? Well, apparently this is going to be my day for hold my beer. Yeah. I tried to cut my thread and it didn't want to cut. So now it's just punishing me. There we go. Don't be afraid of your machine. The only thing you ever have to be afraid of about your machine is sticking your finger under the needle. Everything else is fixable. Okay, let's try this one more time. So I'm just bringing. Usually you want your thread under the foot. You want your thread above the foot. You want your thread underneath so it feeds properly. In once, out once. Sometimes it wants to catch a little bit. That's fine. Give it a tug. Once you've given it a tug, you can reach under. Where is it? Come on. I know you're in there, you little fucker. Sometimes it doesn't catch the first time. There it is. Better be in there. There it is. Sometimes you have to do it twice for it to catch. It catches, you pull it. Now don't forget. Yeah, we don't want this machine to be the broken one. That's why that machine exists. Because if the things that I could realistically do to break this machine. Now for me, because I need it because for me, I'm selling on Etsy. I don't want to be without a machine for 6 weeks. The things that I could possibly do to damage this machine are repairable. And you really should be taking your machine in for a bit of a tune-up, a cleaning and adjustment once a year. When I broke the thread cutter on that machine, it did not cost me any extra to get it repaired because they were able to repair the cutter and didn't have to replace it. Anyway, bringing these to the top means I've got no loose thread on the bottom. That's the punchline. And my loose thread on the top here is going, when this is all done, this gets folded over and then folded over again, right? So when this is done, that loose thread up in this corner is going to be completely covered. There's not going to be loose threads everywhere. So I don't need to worry about a little loose thread up in the corner, and you don't have to go exactly into the corner. A lot of people leave like a good 1 inch. If something does shift, I'm going to want to swing back, and maybe something shifts and I want to come back and trim this. It's a lot harder to trim if you're sewing right along the exact edge here. So a lot of people will leave at least a finger width and not go any further to the edge. That way they have room for trimming if they need to. So I'm not going crazy here. A couple of loops. Something's catching. What's going on? Do I have my feed dogs up or down? They're down. Okay. Oh, that's why I don't have my gloves on. I have such dry hands. That I can. If you press down and do this, yeah, I have a hard time. Anyway, this should make it a lot easier. So if you want to stay away from the edge, that's fine. Now, you guys will also notice that I never pin this because the bow, it's a small piece. I've got both hands here and I've got my knee lift. So I've got a little bit of extra control. You can use 505 spray, throw in a couple of pins, do whatever works for you. Just because I'm lazy. Okay, and cut, and I'm done. One little spot to trim here. No loose threads are on the back. Okay. So what's going to happen now? If you're going to embrace the boho rustico look, you're done. If you're not 100% sure, it's like, well, what if something shifted? If something shifted, I want to deal with this. Then you're going to check. And if something needs to be trimmed, you're going to carefully get in with a pair of scissors and trim it. Or you're going to flip it over and flip this backwards. Say something makes a lump here and you want to get rid of that. This is why you're not going 100% to the edges. If something shifts and you go, that's sticking out a little bit and I don't like that, then you can lay your ruler back down. You can lay down a ruler and straighten up your lines again. So you can still work with it, right? What I'm going to do later, I'm doing this much, much later. And, I was quick and I was careless. Nothing's really caught. That's the thing. Make sure nothing catches. When I'm doing, like when I did Lisa's, the pieces on Lisa's that I was doing were big enough that I took the time to pin everything. I'll pin the next couple just so you guys can see what it looks like. And if I forget, somebody yell at me. Somebody tell me. So what I'm going to do is I'm done and I'm storing it just like this. I'm not doing anything else with this until I'm ready to put it together. When I'm ready to put it together, I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to go 1 inch all the way around. So that then when I'm doing this, I'm going to have, well, it'll be about like that. Then it's going to be a nice narrow thing. You can do this if you decide that you want a 2-inch border around everything. It's your quilt. You do what makes sense to you. Okay. So I prefer, generally speaking, I make my edges, I usually go 1 inch or 1.5 inches all the way around, but I'm not going to cut it until just before I'm ready to sew it. I'll trim, sew, because that way I can store this for a really long time if I want to. And even if it frays right to shit, look at this, just going like this, I'm making it fray. I'm obviously doing it on purpose and trying, right? The last thing you want to do is trim it to 1 inch store it, and then find out that you're losing 1/4 of an inch to frame. Okay. And one of the reasons why, so first one's done. First one is done. Gotta move stuff around. I gotta put stuff everywhere. I can't put this on the floor because Bruno will try to sleep on it. Bruno loves my fabric. So is that one gonna be? That one's not 9 inches. Is that one gonna be 9 inches? Nope. Something that you can do is, oh, I don't have my zigzag foot on. Something you can do if you are really trying to make your, 55 to go. If you are really trying to make your batting last, then what you can do, this okay, I'm gonna show you the example, but I'm not gonna actually do it. So you can just take, oh, this is a messed up piece of batting, right? So you can push them together so that they're touching. Because don't forget, you're gonna be quilting over top of it so that it's not going anywhere, right? So you can put them together so that they're touching. Run a quick, not a super tight, super fancy, a quick loose zigzag down the center, and then just use it. And then when you're quilting it down, it's not going to move. So you can get a lot of mileage out of your batting. So but you need straight lines. Where did I put my? There it is. You need straight lines. You do not want to try and angle. You don't want to try and do this. So then you go make a straight line, just trim it. Right? So that becomes your waist. That little bit becomes your waist. That sews to that. That zigzag sews to that. That zigzag sews to that. And now, obviously, I didn't zigzag sew it, right? You guys are going to have to settle for the explanation and not the example. I'm going to keep these scraps for future projects. If I stop and do this, I want this done relatively quickly. If I stop and do this with every piece to get the absolute maximum for myself, I'm going to be here for days and days and days, and I don't want to do that, right? But that's all you're doing. Look, if I zigzag here and zigzag here, then I've got a new piece of batting that I can use, and it will be fine. Just make sure that if you're doing that for a big project, a little project, or whatever, just make sure that if you're doing that, like this, okay, this batting here is rated for 10 inches. I only have to have one stitch of quilting every 10 inches to hold this together, right? If you're going to do this, you're definitely going to want to make sure that you have a little bit, you're going to want to make sure that you have enough quilting on the top to hold this in place so that light stitching, blah, blah, blah. You don't want to do a heavy stitch because then you'll feel it through the fabric, but a nice quick doing, nice and loose will work beautifully. I'm going to save these pieces because I'm probably going to use them for like mug rug. Like this one here, this bigger wheat piece, that's perfect for a mug rug. So I am still saving them. I'm just being lazy about it today. Okay. So this is a bigger piece. I'm going to get a little lazy because I can, because this is my quilt. Does that fit? Oh, it barely fits. This does not quite fit. Okay. Ugh. What I'm going to do, once I get through this bag of scrap, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my bigger piece and I'm going to cut like 9.5, 10-inch strips. I'm going to do it intentionally. I'm going to cut 9.5 to 10-inch strips. That way, because there's always going to be some waste and I don't want to spend weeks. By the way, this one says fresh out of fucks. I'm fresh out of fucks. I'm a ray of fucking sunshine. 0 fucks given. Fuckity fuck fuck. So this is also my opportunity to come down here and go, what do I want? 0 fucks given. Fresh out of fucks. I can take out, and don't forget that there's going to be an amount that comes over the edge all the way around, right? So I'm going to come this way a bit. Also, don't forget there's an amount that's going to come around. If the piece that you want is right on the edge, then as long as that edge is not thicker than the border you know you're putting on it. I'm getting ahead of myself though. I'm going to line it out. I'm going to line it up here because I'm a ray of fucking sunshine and fresh out of fucks. And I want to make sure that that border that I know is coming is not going to get in the way. So we're going to go right here. We're going to go right here. We're going to save a little bit of batting by moving this up and just off the edge. I already know where I'm putting it. I know what I'm doing. I know I'm a professional. It's fine. Okay. When it comes to batting, just embrace the idea that there will be some waste. If you try to, now this is a rotating mat. So if I remove, I'm not touching, what did I just do? I'm not touching the edge yet. That has bent my blade. That's okay. That's why I keep two of these in here. I'm not touching the edge yet. I'm just going close to the edge so that I can get this stuff out of the way. So do that. Turn. I will say that I'm really liking this. Make sure that that's in place. Basically, this is not a do as I do or do as I say. This is what I'm doing. Do what works for you. Generally speaking, I'm over at the bigger table. The not camera. Yeah, this and a nice straight ruler is awesome. And let me just now I'm using this ruler, right? And I'm going to continue with this ruler. But this has also got markings right on it. So then we just let me just get the other things. We'll show you the things. Where's the other one? It is right there. Just a minute. Okay, this is 505 spray. So you have options. Right? These are my pins, and these are my quilting. These are my quilting pins. You always have options. You always have options. So if you're going to use the 505 spray, we'll do one with this first. The biggest thing with the 505 spray is do not just go. It leaves a very sticky, tacky residue behind. That's its purpose, is to be a temporary adhesive. If you start overspraying and getting on stuff like this, you're going to have a problem. So what have I got that's handy? Okay, I have nothing that's handy, so I'm not going to do it. But what you're going to do is you're going to have like a piece of scrap fabric, or a piece of cardboard. So you're going to have something that you just drop this onto it, lift the corner, give a quick spray. When you're working with small pieces, it doesn't need to be a lot. That's it. That's really okay for small pieces. That's really it. You do not need to be in here. Get you smaller. That will keep this side from shifting, and you lay down your thing. So the reason why I cut these bigger. Oh, my nose is itchy. I'll be right back. I gotta blow my nose. There. A roll of nose blow. I already deal with the sinus thing. The sinus thing, it's one of those, it's never going to go away things, right? Which is not a big deal, but when you are working with batting, there is a lot of dust in the air. So if you are, so this is, let's say, it does not, okay, if you're confident, you need less. If you're not confident, you can use more. This will, 505 spray is like super popular. Not quite enough. 505 spray is super popular because it doesn't damage the sewing machine. It does, some of these adhesives can really gum up in your sewing machine. So for this, that to that. So there's a second reason why I make this bigger. I make this bigger also because if I do this to exactly 11 inches, this is 9 inches. So if I want, this is 9 inches. So if I want 1 inch all the way around, I need 1 inch on this side and 1 inch on that side. So 9 plus 1 is 11 by 11. If I'm making this exactly 11 by 11 inches, if something shifts, then I'm either going to have a much smaller, I might have it going small to big, right? You have to try a lot hard. It's a lot more difficult to line up your fabric if you don't give yourself a little bit of extra on the bottom. This piece here needs to be correct. This piece here, you're going to deal with that as the second part of your process. So that's another reason why I do it bigger. But obviously, if the amount of fabric that if you are really concerned about wasting fabric, that this is extra extra fabric from my stash that I had a ton of. It's actually it's actually a backing fabric, so I used like all of it. Anyway. So give yourself extra when and where you can so that you have extra to work with. Because see, this is not lined up. This is not lined up. This is like, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. Is the camera going to pick it up? The camera is not going to pick it up. That is, yeah, it's closer on that side than it is on that side. I can see it. I don't think the camera's picking it up. Anyway, you can pin, obviously. If you're going to pin, pinning is pretty basic and obvious. These are cool because these are curved safety pins. They're not that expensive, and you just simply put them in, pin your work together, and they do come in 2 sizes. They come in that size. Do I have the other ones handy? Well, yes, I do. There they are. God, I have one of everything in this fucking house. So there's these ones, and then there's these ones. I'm not holding it very well. Let's see, other camera. Nope. There's a size difference. There is a distinct size difference. My problem is always that I'm looking at a small inset image because of the way that the StreamYard program works. So I'm not always able to see I'm not always able to see things as clearly or not clearly as you guys are seeing them. So these can be really helpful. I prefer, when possible, to use the smaller pins. But if you're pinning an entire quilt or something like that, so you literally just pop them in and pin it. The reason why these curved pins, you can use regular safety pins. The reason why these curved pins work really well is because the curving of the pin keeps from causing the fabric to bunch up and stuff like that. So you can put in pins, you can spray it, you can put in straight pins. People do straight pins all the time. People do this. I put the wrong thing in the wrong spot and I have to figure it out. Well, I guess it's going to live there now because I can't see it. Oh, well, not the end of my world. So, yeah, whatever works for you to pin them up. And I prefer to drink my pop. I prefer when I'm at this stage to do a few at a time because, like I said, like I've shown you guys this before. I'll show you again. This is very stretchy. like crazy stretchy, crazy shifty, blah 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 blah. So if this stuff, so if you cut up this first and don't have, if you have a nice spot to put things where it's not going to be disturbed, then you're good to go. But I don't have that. I actually don't, because I'm always working. I'm always doing something over here, right? So I'm moving stuff around all the time. Things can and will shift, and I don't want that to happen. Especially, I don't want the batting to come. I don't know how to describe it, but I don't want that to happen. I don't want it happening. Okay. Now, one of the things I said I'm going to work on. Oh, go down and back up. Don't do it that way. Do. Come on, I can see you. I'm doing this a bit of the cheater's way because I can already see where I want to be, right? Doing this, but I made, God, how many quilts like this have I made now? A dozen or so? So, oh man, I forgot to get the guy's name. I literally stumbled across an article last night. Not an article, I stumbled across an interview last night with a scientist working through, the fuck does he work? Oh, I saved it. I saved a link. I saved a link. Is that going to work? Oh, it works. I saved a link. I just want to. Dr. Niku Madhusudan is a professor of astrophysics and exoplanetary science at the Institute of Astronomy at the University of Cambridge. He has been developing techniques to study the atmospheres of exoplanets. We all know what an exoplanet is, right? Don't worry, we're still doing our Nazca Lines chat tomorrow. I just wanted to bring this up because this has caught my undivided attention yesterday. Okay, I do not have the exact article because I didn't look for that. It was an interview. He was just interviewed a few days ago. So this guy is a big brain science guy working on astronomy. I keep wanting to say astrology. No, that's not what I want. I want his name. Yeah, so he's an astrophysicist, and 3 days ago, I'll grab the link. Now is this the one? This is one of. Oh, it's another. He's finally making it slightly into the mainstream. This is a BBC breakfast news channel. Drum roll! Oh my God! All the drum rolls. We need something exciting to talk about because once I get the first couple of these done, it's literally just going to be me shooting the shit. And anyway, that's the link in case anybody wants to go look. He just a few months ago they made a discovery on an exoplanet. What's the exoplanet? KB18b, I believe it is. Exoplanet, yeah, K218. I think that's the one. Okay, so the reason why I'm excited about this, and it's like, hey, let's just chat about that while I'm sewing shit, is, let me just get that over there so you guys can see again. The reason why I'm chatting about the reason why I'm bringing this up is because he just made a discovery a few months ago. They're still confirming, and obviously this planet is like 150 light years away or something like that. Just found compounds that on our planet only exist in the presence of life. Sulfur dioxide was one. Sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean a lot at this minute. concentrate. Let's stop mid-sentence and start sewing some shit. It doesn't mean anything right this minute. What really caught my attention is how little people are talking about it. It's like we've already done those things that say, well, there's a really good chance that life exists on other planets. We've already had, we've got the Fermi principle and everything, the Fermi paradox, things like that. And this guy's like, whoop, my thread ran out. I need to get another one. I need to get another bobbin. I'm using up I'm using up what I've got first. Oh my God, there's even less on that one. That's okay. It'll get me through this one. Then I've got to stop and make a bunch of bobbins. Make a bunch of bobbins. Okay, the reason why this is catching my attention, it's catching my attention for two things. I'm not surprised that somebody who finally found evidence that there could be life on other planets. Right now, this guy, a reputable scientist working in big brain science, is saying that there's a 50-50 chance that this discovery indicates the presence of actual life on another planet, an exoplanet that's about 2.5 times the size of Earth. Why is nobody talking about that shit? I'm just going to get my conspiracy theory brain back on again. It's like, why? This should be the biggest news on the fucking planet. Even if it turns out that nothing's going on. Even if it's like, okay, we've done our studies and at best we can expect to find cyanobacteria is something that exists on Earth, right? So it's like, well, at best we can assume that there's cyanobacteria on other planets. Okay, cyanobacteria was a building block to further life and further this and further that. Anyway, it just caught my undivided attention because nobody's talking about this. Like, I'm sorry, some major scientist making a discovery like this, even if, yeah, what kind of life though? Well, this is the thing. So far, we are barely getting science to acknowledge that there may have been primitive bacteria on Mars at some point for 5 minutes in their history. So it's like, but we've never been able to get any scientific types willing to even admit that it could be a thing. And now we have the potential for proof that some kind of life exists. Don't forget, this is like the human arrogance. We're not ready to find a civilization that looks like us. We're not ready to find that yet. But we're definitely ready to acknowledge that other planets can harbor life. And the idea that this scientist dude is like, yeah, we found this, and it's like, oh well, we'll be on breakfast television. Like, it's just. This should be a major breaking news event. Anyway, so what's going to happen next? I'm not trimming these because I don't want to make a mess. I'm not trimming these because I don't want to make a mess, right? What's going to happen next? What's going to happen in the next step is I'm going to take these, I set them out the way that I want them to look, right? And then I flip them back to back, line them up, pin them, do whatever I'm going to do to them, sew along that line, open it back up. You'll be seeing this exactly. You'll be seeing this in real time when I'm ready. Sew that one down, sew that one down, and then just basically keep doing the same idea over and over again in rows of 8 until I get 7 of them that I can then connect all together. So that's the in a nutshell version of what's happening. But first, I need 54 more of these. And on we go. So now this is the part where you guys have to keep me company. Keep me company and keep me sane because, yeah, I am basically, I am just going to, I'm going to accept a little bit of waste. And that's a personal decision, how carefully you want to do this to avoid any and all possibility of waste. This one just says fuck off everywhere. This is very, very, one thing to keep in mind one thing to keep in mind, because there's going to be a fabric rolling over the top, and I think this one's a good example. Yeah, okay, this one here, no matter how I cut it, I'm going to get a little bit of selvage here, which is fine. This is why when you start, you need to pre-decide. Yeah, you would think that more people would be into knowing that. I don't care what kind of life it is. I care about a formal, official, public acknowledgement. And you've got a legitimate, respected, reputable scientist who is saying, yeah, this is what we found. And right this second, if I have now he's being very careful and cautious and very professional about the whole thing. If you do get a chance to watch what he says, he's being careful, cautious, and respectful. But what he's saying right now, if I had to guess, I would say that there's a 50-50 chance that we're going to find that there is life on this planet based on what we're finding. But he is also saying, because he's a respectful, professional, honest man, he's also saying we have a lot more research to do before we can come to any formal conclusions. Right? This is not somebody going, we found this. This is somebody who's following the rules. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's just. I will also point out, if you are cutting for precision, yeah. Well, I mean, this is the thing. Nobody's calling him crazy. Nobody's calling him crazy. This is exactly the kind of shit he's researching, right? So at the top here, that bit of yellow, that is the selvage. That is the edge of the fabric. It's a very, very narrow section that I've got here, right? So put this down. I don't care about the boho effect. The boho and rustic means that if something doesn't line up perfectly, it's now a feature and not a flaw. Okay, that's how I think of it anyway. Boho can look a little rough, and it's fine, which is why I get a little lazy about this. So don't forget. So you've got a little bit of selvage showing up here, right? But once this is going to get trimmed. Well, this is about an inch right there. Is it an inch right there? That's an inch. So it's going to get folded in half, and then it's going to get folded over. So once this is a feature that's going to this is going to circle the backing is going to come forward and be a frame around every single squares. But look, that little bit of selvage that was showing is now no longer visible. Yeah, my stuff never lines up properly. Well, this is the perfect quilt for you to do then, because this quilt is a perfect beginner quilt. It's a perfect quilt for if you're a beginner, or if you're in a hurry, or if you just really like that rough rustic look. And if things don't line up perfectly, that actually adds to the charm instead of, okay, real quilting, there's no such thing as real quilting. Like, I mean, I'm not going to enter a contest with this quilt. If I did, I'm not going to win, okay? But I'm going to get a really cool quilt that I'm going to like, everybody else is going to like. And if there's sections of it that don't match up, like I showed you guys on Lisa's quilt, when you know, Lisa's going, yeah, I got my new quilt, and everybody's got, it's gorgeous, it's amazing, it's perfect. And yet I can go over right now, grab that quilt and show you 2 spots that are not perfect, but nobody fucking cares because the overall result is amazing. That's what boho and rustic does. That's the benefit. That is the benefit. I've got to do some, before I get over there, I've got to make some bobbins. So anyway, if you have a little bit of something you don't like on the edge, as long as it's like, say, a 1/4 inch or less, you know you're going to be covering it up when you do that part. And I'm doing an inch, so I'm doing an inch, so an inch becomes a 1/2 inch and then folds over. So I'm going to have about a 1/2 inch frame all the way around. So I've got about a 1/2 inch, if I really want, of wiggle room before things show up. If you need more space than that, just go an inch, just make these 1.5 inches, 2 inches, 3 inches, do whatever the fuck you want, right? I'm going to leave this for a minute, though, because I've got to do some bobbins. But anyway, that was my I don't want to call it a conspiracy theory. I don't think it's a, well, I mean, I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory or not. It's like, it's really weird that mainstream science just does not want to even acknowledge this potential discovery. it's like I don't have enough to do anything other than make a mess. So I'm just going to get that over there. I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to make 6 bobbins. Honestly, if you're doing your own quilting, if you already know from experience, if you're doing something that you've done before and you go, oh, I know I'm going to need 6 of these, then do 6. But if you're not sure, don't think you have to have all your bobbins ready all at once. It's more convenient when you can. Yeah, working on projects. I don't know how to describe this. Working on a project where your stuff does not have to line up properly gives you a great opportunity to practice working on making it line up better and better and better and better and better. So it's this kind of a quilt, great opportunity to practice. Great opportunity to practice making things line up properly while you're still getting a really good project out of it. And then that will give you the practice and the skill and the experience so that when you're moving on to other projects, you'll get better results. Anyway, this is also a great, I know I did at least one before. This is also a great technique for making tote bags and stuff like that. That's almost empty. Don't worry, I'm not throwing away thread, but there's not enough there to get a full spool out of, so I might as well just move on to the next one. I know what I'm doing. It's okay. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. So the only thing that you have to be aware of, if you are deciding to try this technique, there are formulas that you can find online that say if you're making a quilt, you need this much. If you're making a quilt and you want your quilt to be blah, blah, if you want your quilt, this is going to be what? Okay, 8 times 9. 9 times 8 is 72. So this quilt is going to be 72 by 8 times 7 is 56. So it's going to be 56 inches wide. You use wadding in your bags. I use wadding in my tote bags. I do not use it. I do not use it in my, I use interfacing, but I don't use batting or wadding of any kind in my bags unless I'm doing a padded tote bag. Do I have one handy? I don't have one handy. But yeah, I do padded when I do a padded tote bag, which I'm going to do that into a couple of padded tote bags. Yeah, practice with, if you've got a good stash of scraps, practicing with your scraps is great. It's amazeballs. It's the best way to do it. So what I was going to say though, this kind of matters, okay? When you are planning for a quilt, if you say I'm making a quilt, how much fabric do I need for the backing? If you don't explain what you're doing, it's not like you have to explain in detail. If I say I am making a 56 by 72 inch quilt, then most quilts, you're having a solid piece and only have to worry about the edges. Every single block here has an edge. So you are going to use a lot more backing for this than you would for a regular quilt. Keep that in mind when you're buying your backing fabric. Because the backing, like I said, you're going to take this piece here is like, these are 9-inch pieces. These are like almost 13 inches. That's how big I cut them. This is because I had the extra fabric. This, by the way, if this is happening and it stays stuck in the down, this is my needle threader, right? It stays stuck in the down position because it needs to be adjusted. It's not the end of my world, so I'm not gonna drop $150 to get it fixed immediately. I'm gonna get it fixed next time I don't need to take this guy in for service for a while yet. But when I take it in for service, actually, I guess it's overdue. If you're sewing a lot, you should, if you're sewing a lot and don't do your own cleaning, you should think about getting your machine in about once a year for a cleaning and a tune-up. I do my own cleaning. What's going on? There we go. I do my own cleaning. So with that in mind, I only take mine in about once every 2 to 3 years. So Because obviously, if you're, I'm not going to spend 150. Okay, that's about what it is for a basic service here. For service on a sewing machine, the cost of service depends on what type of machine you're bringing in. Because this is an electronic machine, it costs a lot more. Blah 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 blah. I'm going to get it fixed next time I bring it in, but I'm not killing my. It's just a simple thing. Pops right back up. Has no effect on how the machine sews. If you have little glitches that are not otherwise affecting how your machine works, don't drop the money. Wait until you're getting regular stuff done and do it then anyway. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is one of the things that I'm still practicing on. I've done a whole bunch of these, but I've usually been doing them quickly. The dog quilt that I showed you the other day, all I did was went once and made a single crisscross. I did not use a darning foot. I just used a straight foot, just went crisscross. That was it. Every single block, crisscross done, crisscross done. And I'm probably going to do a bunch of these like that as well, just for speed. But one of the things I am working on, one of the things that I continuously work on when I'm sewing, I want to start doing some of the schmancy designs, but I do need to get a little better at the smooth motions. I don't know if I can get this close enough to the camera to matter. Let's see how close I can get this. So wherever your thread cuts, just put your finger there and then flip it over, because then you'll find that you do have a little tiny bit of thread here to trim off when you're done. And when you are done, just either slightly back stitch or just sew in the same spot 2 or 3 times. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Tricia says, I went to the charity shop a couple of days ago and they had a bunch of like cotton tablecloths. They weren't the prettiest, but I got them so I could use as practice material. They were super cheap. Do you know what else that kind of material? Do you know what else that kind of material is good for? Is batting. If you are doing, you can use anything you want for batting. This is the in-between layer that nobody sees. You can do anything like that you want. So there's there's a couple of spots, and I don't know if you guys are going to see them or not. Can you guys see? This area here, the stitches are really far apart. And this piece up here, the stitches are super close together. Now, it doesn't really matter. This is just tacking things down in place. I might do crisscross on my practice one, as I've never done quilting like you're doing. Yeah, okay. Well, that's simple. That is really simple. Really, that is the simplest way to do it. This is using the darning foot. I did like my first, oh God. Even Lisa's quilt, Lisa's big ass, Lisa, I don't know if you guys have seen it. I know there's not, it's not like she's showing it. Well, actually, I guess she does show it regularly. If you've seen a Hello Kitty quilt in the background of Lisa's stuff, right? That's all I did. Crisscross. You just use your regular foot. Doom, you're done. And it's a lot easier. It's a lot quicker. And it's a lot more user-friendly. I'm going to fold this in half. So I just noticed the sizing. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to fold this in half. Does that go all the way up? Yeah. I'm going to fold this in half. If you're going to use a rotary cutter, plan for, I've got like 5 in different sizes. If you're going to use a rotary cutter, keep in mind that the width of the blade is about as wide as the fabric you can do. So like, I mean, and again, I am not touching the ruler here. I'm just going beside it because I'm going to have to cut my fabric to fit anyway. But is it here? Yeah. Okay. This guy. This is my smallest rotary cutter, right? It's teeny tiny. So if I take this rotary cutter, it'll cut here. This is amazing for cutting around corners and stuff, but let's see. Let's get this ready. Let's get this up here. This is one of the ones I got yesterday. It says lighten the fuck up. I like that one. I like that one a lot. Okay. So And like I said, cutting a teeny bit bigger and then trimming the size is, if you've got the fabric to waste, takes a lot of stress out of what you're doing. Because if I have this, I can cut both pieces to exactly 9 inches, and then I've got to make sure that they're lined up perfectly and that nothing shifts while I'm agonizing over it. But you can do that. Okay, so if I cut this, nothing's cutting. Nothing's cutting because the blade, I don't know if you guys can see this, the blade is only like a millimeter past the ruler. So if it's too thick, so keep that in mind. A little one is great. What's going on here? There it goes. A little one is great. Okay, I just rough cut my batting with it because there's nothing in the way. But if you are cutting along a ruler, it changes everything. One of the things that you can do, by the way, obviously, if you just line this up at the 2 mark or the 1 mark, or okay, you can just line it up right in that corner and then do whatever you're going to do. You do not have to have these schmancy rulers. It's easier if you have a schmancy ruler, but you don't need it. You can use these lines here, just like I said, line up. I'm going to bring it over here. So there's 1 to 10, 1 to 12, 1 to 12. I want a 10 by 10. So I just line it up to here, and then I cut, 9 by 9, and then you just line it up and cut. There's plenty of ways to cut your fabric in a way that makes sense. If you happen to have a schmancy ruler, that's great. You know what else it's great if you have? I've shown you guys these before. You guys, you can cut along these. I use these for marking, but if I have to, I can get in here and cut, right? This matters. If you have access to a handy person who can make you something, this is a type of particle board. I'm not even sure what kind it is. That I went to Home Depot and I said, I need a piece of board and I need it to be this size and I need it to be this size. And they cut it for me. And these are just cheap wooden handles that I glued on. If you are doing the same thing over and over and over again, or if you are having issues with measuring and don't want to, sometimes these rulers can be hideously expensive. It just pisses me off how expensive some of this shit is. But that's a whole different conversation. But if you have access to the kind of materials that will let you make a template that is the right size, but it has to be relatively thin. You have to be able to run your rotary cutter on it. But then again, that is, I could have a 1-inch block of wood in the right size, and this is still gonna cut. You have to, as long as this piece here isn't touching. So how wide is that? How wide is that? That is 1/2 inch. I could have a template that is like 3/8 of a quarter to 3/8 of an inch. Still be able to cut through here, no problem. By the way, this is really common, and you'll encounter this. This is especially true of actual batting. This is actual batting. If you're using like an old T-shirt as your batting or something like that, it's not going to happen. When you're going through actual batting, you cut. As you cut, your blade. Let me just get this picked up first. Then we can do it, and I can show you. Whoops. I'm not even sure if I can get anything close enough to really. Okay, you're gonna go there. I have to really watch it with the batting. Shayla, the black dog. You guys know who the black dog is. She likes to chew on it like bubble gum. I don't know what it is about batting, but she likes it. Okay. I'm gonna do this first. I'm not sure if it's going to show up. You guys can actually you can just start to see the fuzzy sticking up. Okay. See the bit of fuzziness sticking up. After a while of cutting batting, okay, when you cut, you're cutting through your fabric and you're leaving a light groove in the mat. That's exactly how it goes, right? That's what it's supposed to do. So then you're cutting. When you're cutting fabric, you leave a light groove, and every now and again, a little tiny piece of fabric gets stuck in there. When you're cutting batting, it just gets mashed in there. It builds up. You have to stop and clean it every once in a while. 2 ways to clean it are a damp cloth and circles. You can take a scrubby. It doesn't really matter what you do to clean it, but over time, because you're generally cutting in the same spot over and over and over again. So over time, as the debris starts filling up those micro scratches, as the debris starts filling them up, it can make it harder to cut. And you'll know because you'll cut and then it's not quite cutting properly. So it's this. Okay, if your blade is getting dull, that will start happening as well. But if you're cutting batting, it can just be that you need to stop and clean up any debris that's under there, because once it starts filling in, it creates it doesn't give a hard surface for the blade to cut against. So it starts getting to be a pain in the ass. Okay, so I'm just making sure this is mostly. And if you're not sure, go, okay, I want this to be at least. Well, this is 1.5 inches. So maybe I will pull it back. No, I'm not going to pull it back all that much. I already know I'm doing this at an inch. So anyway, bring this forward at or near a corner like that makes it easier to hide one of these. Come on. There we go. Bring it up. So yeah, so crisscross is super simple. This one. Okay, done. Now, if you're doing crisscross, obviously you're going to want to. You can, if you want to, just bring it around and go straight down the edge. You can. You don't have to. And then just flip it. Don't forget, this is your blanket. If you are doing this kind of stuff, keep in mind, and I just did it absentmindedly. Keep in mind that if you are doing darning stitches, your feed dogs are down. So if you're not actively pushing, nothing's happening. Which is another reason why quilting gloves exist. So yeah, like I can stop right here. I don't have to care. There are going to be 50. God, I've only done 2 of these so far. 3 of these. I've only done 3 of these so far. There's going to be like 50 some odd more of these. If one of them doesn't turn out the way you want it to, nobody's going to notice or care. Get a couple of loops in there. There, look at that. I did fancy shit. I'm done. Love, love, love. Embrace the terms rustic and boho. Rustic and boho. That is your new term of the day. This is done. I can put it over here. I don't have to care. I can go. That will get them done faster. But yeah. So if you're gonna get a rotary cutter, these are amazing. If you're trying to make curved cuts, like freehand cutting, like I don't know. You've got. Okay, let's say I want to just go around this and make like for appliques and stuff like that. This is really good if you want to do freehand cutting at any time for any reason. But you can't even a base. This is just a basic ruler is too thick for it, and it doesn't work. I still keep it because I love my toys. But yeah, just something to keep. There's the other one. Something to keep in mind. I probably do have to change my blades soon. Oh my God, I was over there on the sewing machine. You guys didn't see a fucking thing, did you? You guys really need to call my attention to this shit. God knows I will never notice. Takes me an hour. Anyway, so yeah, I just did a quick, Chris, went down the edge. Where is it? Yeah. I did a quick Chris, went down the edge here, back to across, and then did a bit of a mess in the middle, and it's done. Hi, Kaz. No, of course the camera wasn't on the machine for the cross example. I'll do another one. I don't care. I don't care. Actually, I'll do another one, but I'm going to do it on another piece of a different fabric. Just to maintain the randomness. This one says, what does this one say? Fuck off. Sorry. I mean, good morning. I need to ask Nanny. Are you still? Oh, Nanny B's still here. Where did you get this? Where did you get this? And okay, here's one that we're going to have an issue with because it's not quite wide enough. So I'm still gonna. Don't let me forget the crisscross example. Okay, so the fabric isn't quite as wide as I need it, so I'm going to cheat. I'm not going to cheat. I'm just going to go fuck it. So what I can do, if I line this up along the fabric, then I'm going to end up with a wide piece here that's not going to fit right? So I'm going to bring it back a little bit. This is literally only off by, of course you're going to move. Then I don't think it's going to move, so it's going to move. This is off by about 1/4 of an inch. Okay. See I don't know if you guys can see that. See how the red goes out past the fabric, right? This is off by about 1/4 of an inch, but I really want to use this fabric. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back it up a little bit. I'm going to split the difference. I know that when I do my fold over, that this is going to get covered, right? But I don't want to take chances and have it being so close to the, if it's too close to the edge, then eventually the fabric could fray from the inside and pop out. So you don't want to deal with that. So you want to split the difference, bring it back a little bit. So now I'm off by about 1/8 of an inch on either side, which is an acceptable error. It really is. It's acceptable. Like I said, I'm going to have 1 inch all the way around, fold it in half so that it's a 1/2 inch. Half were off Facebook D-Stash. Oh, Facebook D-Stash. Okay, and the other half were from Australian suppliers like Missy Rose. I really got to find fabric like this. I was actually looking. I found stuff on Spoonflower, but Spoonflower, it's hard to tell what their good stuff is. It's hard to tell what type of fabric it is. So this is off by the ends are going to be fine. Oh, that means I lied. I don't want to do. Yeah, I'll do the crisscross on this one. I didn't lie. I'm not a liar. I'm not a liar. Yay. Yeah, I'm not lying. Yeah, I used to get quite a bit of fabric on these stash pages, but around here, I don't know what the hell happened, but around here. So now, because this is already off, I'm going to be a little bit more careful in picking it up. By the way, look at that. Pick up your corner, slide it in, and that makes, especially if you want to make sure that something doesn't shift. Okay, I want to make sure that this doesn't shift. I already knew. Yeah, I've got one example. I'll go get it in a second. Okay, so this is, the fabric is about 1/8 of an inch too short on that side and about 1/8 of an inch too short on that side. I'm just being really careful how I pick it up because I'm overdoing it just so you guys can see exactly what's going on here. I'm overdoing it so that you guys can see what's going on because the fabric, we already know that this isn't lined up properly, right? So I do not want to take the risk on it shifting anymore. Now, one cool feature, and you'll notice this right away, is that when you cut two fabrics together, they kind of sort of want to stick together. Especially fabric sticking to batting. So I'm going to bring this up a little bit. I'm sewing this in like 30 seconds from now. I don't need it to, I do not need the world here, but I am because I already know there's a problem. No matter how much cheating I do when it comes to my personal projects, if I already know that there's a problem, I actually stop and do things right. Okay? Tiniest bit. You do not need to put a ton of this stuff on. Okay. Adjust the camera so you guys can see what I'm doing. Now you're just gonna have to use your imagination and pretend I have a regular thing on. So basically all you would do, and again, you do not have to do this step. You do not have to do this step. You really don't. I prefer it. Where's my tweezers? Looks like I don't get to do that step on this piece. I can't find my tweezers. Well, yes, I can. There they are. Okay. So I like this step just because it brings, come on, you can do it. Where are you? I thought I was, there it is. It's hiding. I got it. This just gives you less loose thread that you have to trim. Right? It just makes for a nicer product. But you've also, while you're fucking around digging this stuff up, you just also want to make sure that you're not moving your stuff around too much. Okay, so so basically, if you are doing a regular zigzag, for starters, you don't have to backstitch if you don't want to, because this is going to come forward and seal that down anyway. So if you don't want to backstitch, you don't have to. I like to put a couple of quick stitches in. And literally, that's it. Okay. Now, you can come down one side. You can either cut your thread and start over at the next corner, or just come down one side, both sides, all sides. Whoops, I just shifted that. That was me. Because my feed dogs are down, the fabric will not move unless I move it. Hence the gloves, because my fingers slide too much. That's just a dry skin issue. There you go. And then again, backstitch if you want to, or don't, because this is going to fold down and it's going to cover all that up and get tacked down when you sew the next piece together. And then all I did was, okay, so I can do this, right? And then I can just, if you're experimenting with using your darning foot, zigzag, that part's done. That's done. Not going to see it on the front very well. Oh, may not see it on the back very well either. Let's see what we got going on here. You see it a little bit. I'm sure it's a bit of a mess, but we don't care. We don't care if it's a bit of a mess. It's supposed to be a bit of a mess. Rustic, boho. That's what we're doing. And then again, when this is done, I've got this here. When this is done, this gets trimmed to 1 inch, and then it gets folded, and then it gets folded again. And that funny cut down in the corner there is not going to show up. As long as the piece that's showing is not bigger. Okay, so this is more than a 1/2 inch. I know that right now. Let's sacrifice one for the team. Let's go 1 inch. Okay, so you have to commit up front, right? You have to go, okay, so now I need to commit up front to go lining up my fabric along the batting and not necessarily the fabric. Just to show you guys how this goes, okay? Don't go anywhere. It's escaping. It's not even supposed to be there. It's supposed to be over there somewhere. Okay, so I've trimmed it to 1 inch. Now you guys are looking at my boobs. This is awesome. Yeah, creating character. I will tell you right now, you might notice because you're the one who is up close and personal with this the whole time. Nobody is going to notice. So I've got a piece there that's showing, right? So now I'm going to fold that in half, and I'm going to fold it in half again. And look at that. It is gone. It is gone. Now something else that you can do. So that's gone. Get that in there. And this is super easy because you're folding in half, you're folding in half again, so you're not agonizing about any I do not know how to describe this. When you are as long as this cut is fairly accurate, then the only thing you have to worry about is making sure, and you can even like use a ruler or do whatever you want to do. But all you got to do is make sure that when you're doing this, okay, this camera does not zoom in. So we are waiting. I don't know if we've got it. Oh, we got it. Oh my God, I'm an idiot. We got an adapter cable for my camera that does have a zoom. So all you got to do is, so you're doing this, right? And then you just go, okay, did I fuck this up? No, look at that. There's more than enough that you have to fold it back quite a ways before that shows, because if this is too close to the edge, if this batting is too close to this outer edge, then it could pop out over time. But as long as you're not going over, say, 1/4 of an inch, you're not at risk of that happening. It's not going to happen. Okay. So that one is fine. It's not a fuck up. It was a choice, right? And there's a big, I guess there's not a big difference, but yeah, you didn't screw anything up. You decided I'm going to use this piece of fabric, and in order to make this work, this is the choice I need to make. So you made the choice. That's how I see it. That's how I do it. This is 9 inches. That's not big enough. So I'm going to do it. I can tell that this side is a little bit wider than that side. So I'm going to do it from here. And I'm just making sure that I'm going to get minimums. There we go. This is 100%. This is 100% available as a piece for something else. And then, let's see, do I have to cut that in too? Well, yes, I do. I already know I'm trimming this, right? I already know I'm trimming this, and I already know I have at least 9 inches on that side. So instead of opening this, cutting it, and screwing around with it, I'm just going to get my thing. Look, I've got extra over here still, right? So nothing's going to happen. There we go. That just takes off that fold to separate those two pieces, and it does it in a way where I don't have to fiddle with I don't like fiddling with batting any more than absolutely necessary. It releases a lot of dust, and it stretches out of place and fucks up and does all sorts of things that I don't like so quickly and easily. By the way, if for any reason you get the 501 spray on your stuff, a plastic scraper, a fingernail, and some patience. A little bit of oil works, but I don't like using oil to clean up over here because it could leave residues that get back on the fabric. What is the type of material that I'm thinking of? Okay, you know the adhesive that they use to put stickers on your utensils and your plates and all that stuff that has to peel. You know, you get a sticker on a cup that you have to. The sticker on the bottom of a coffee mug when you buy a coffee mug, those types of stuff. It's not that kind of an adhesive. It's nicer than it's a nicer adhesive than that, but that's how you get it off. You get it off the same way. So a lot of scraping, a lot of time, a little bit of oil. I think rubbing alcohol works. I can't remember. I just really, really, really embrace the the scrapey technique. Scraping and braces. I also really embrace using a backing cloth of some kind if I'm going to be doing a lot of it. If I were over there prepping a ton of fabric, there'd be a backing cloth out. So anyway. Okay, guys, amuse me, entertain me. I've got way too many more of these to do. I still have to cut a few more pieces of that too. I will say, reason why I brought out my toilet roll, the reason why I brought out a roll of Kleenex, batting is really dusty. Batting is really, really dusty. So if you do have a tendency to a runny nose or anything, be ready. I'll be right back. I'm going to go get a piece of fabric to show you. And blow my nose better. There it is. I came back. I swear to God, are you doing 2 repeats of the same fabric in the quilt? Love that you're adding scrap bits I threw in the box too. I'm not sure how much repeating. This, I got this from Spoonflower. This is a bit more, this is a lot more, it's more red. It's more red like the inset video was showing. Come on. Come on. F-bomb. They're F-bombs. I made F-bombs. This is a fabric that I got from Spoonflower, and it's like, it's very plasticky. Spoonflower does digital printing on their fabric, and the fabric at the side feels nice, but this is the kind of digital printing that you get on t-shirts. So it was a lot. Yeah, it's a lot more plasticky. I don't necessarily, I did a few things out of it for friends, but it was a lot more plasticky than I thought it was going to be. My lighting just changed. My lighting just changed. Oh, that's why my lighting just changed. Whew. My lighting just changed. What's going on? You know what's going on? My computer's about to die because I forgot to, I usually sit over there. I forgot to plug my computer in. It's like, why? It's like my lighting changed. My screen seems dimmer. My screen was dimmer. My computer was, the warning must have popped up while I was out of the room. Anyway, yeah, F-bomb. So doing the things I used up all of these. I used up a bunch of these ones. And then some of these are going to be 4. Some of these are just going to be 2. Some of them are going to be 3 so that I can keep somewhat random. And I've still got 14 to cut. I still have 14 more that need to be cut. I just haven't done it yet. So yeah, so if you are going to the effort of keeping these together so that they don't shift, just lift up a corner, slide the whole thing under, because yeah, there's a piece right there. You guys can even see it. See that? So, yeah, see that right there? This is a piece of batting that's been shoved into the groove that it makes. Comes off pretty easy. Oh, nothing happened. This is the batting got shoved. The rotary cutter makes a tiny, tiny slice every time you cut your fabric, and the batting can get shoved into it. What I'm gonna do is get what I am going to do, what I was planning on doing. I'm going to repeat the same thing. I came back just in time. If I'd have come back 5 minutes later, I wouldn't have noticed it because I just sat down just in time to see this. I saw the shift in color out of the corner of my eye, and I thought that maybe the sun had gone. I thought maybe the outside light had shifted. You know what? I watched people. I used to watch people sewing all the time. So if you want to pick it up, if you're concerned that if I pick it up, I'm gonna like mangle it, your ruler doubles as a spatula. Just saying. Just saying. What I'm gonna do? I am gonna show you guys how to join this together. I'm gonna show you guys how to join this together. Come on, get back where I want you to. Okay. I'm gonna show you guys how to join this together. I don't want to use these ones though, because I've only got a tiny, tiny amount of them. Okay. We're going to skip ahead. We don't have to skip ahead. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll show you. I use an eraser to get rid of the fluff on my cutting mat. Yeah, I heard about that. I don't know. I am just going to be lazy. Just a second. Now I will point out this matters. This matters, and you're going to want to be aware of this. Safety, a note to safety, okay? When you start to use this, okay, when you're sewing, you're going this way. And you're watching. Yeah, that's a really smart idea. I don't know why I never think of that, because I've heard of that trick, and I don't think I've ever had the intelligence to go actually try it. That's what this is supposed to be for. This is a stitch ripper that I have, and this is supposed to. So after you do your stitch ripping, this is supposed to let you clean up the loose threads. So I bet you that's what this is for as well. Anyway, okay. You know what we're gonna do? So what's going on here? This is a safety thing that you do need to be aware of, because the reality is that when you are using your darning foot and stuff like that, you're coming at your fabric from multiple directions. If you are not paying attention, you can keep going. It's really important that you. Now I can. This has up on the top here. This has a slider that will let me control the speed. Right. It is really important when you are first doing this for the first few times, take the time, figure out where you want your hands to be, figure out how careful you're going to be, because I'm just zipping through this because I'm good at being zippy. Yeah. They've got rubberized. That's why the fingertips are super dirty. Not dirty, but they're super stained because they're rubberized. The rubberized tips gives me a much better grip, but because because only the fingertips are rubberized and not the whole hand. You ever get that really, really sweaty, nasty feeling? One nice thing about the darning foot is that you can also flip your work to get at everything in a direction that's comfortable. It's like, oh, that's not comfortable. Let's flip it over here. You can do that. You've got to figure it out, and I'll tell you right now, doing what I do might work for you, but if it doesn't work for you, it's really important that you figure out your own system to make sure that you're not going to get in a hurry one day and get your hands too close to the needle. Because like my hand is here. That's how close I am to the needle, right? It's not. Let's face it, if it was that dangerous, they'd stop making sewing machines because of all the lawsuits. But it's not. It can be startling, scary. The first time you're doing something and you're, oh, I'm a little too close to that needle. It can be startling and it can freak you out. So plan for it. Be ready for it. Watercolor artists use kneadable gum erasers. They are perfect for picking up fluff, etc. I know. I've got it now. I need to go get one. So some people, okay, to answer Trisha there, I think I'd be too scared to do this. For some people, that may be true. And I'll tell you right now, I didn't get my driver's license until I was 50 for the exact same reason why you wouldn't want to use this needle. Different things freak you out in different ways for different reasons, and you don't owe anybody an explanation or an apology for doing something differently because it's not working for you. Okay, I mean, and I love driving now. That's awesome. That's great. But we did not. Okay, so if you are using the darning foot, just stopping in the last spot for 2 or 3 stitches is the same as a back stitch. You get the same results. But the thing is that I'm going pretty fast. I'm not working on specific designs and patterns, because when people are working on specific designs and patterns, they could be over going stitch, 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 stitch. Depending on what you're doing and how you're doing it, you can be in, you don't have to go as fast as I go. You don't have to do these big sweeping lines that go quick. You don't have to do that. So finding out what works for you is what's important. If this doesn't work for you, that's fine. If this never works for you, then the only person who matters is you. Period. And stop. And stop. I'm kind of reverse gatekeepy. I am. I'm a reverse gatekeeper. It's like anybody can do this kind of quilting. When my first like 6 quilts, I've only been doing this for the last, I don't know. I literally would have to dig through the house. I would literally have to dig around the house and go, okay, when did I make that one? Or ask John, when did I make you this quilt? Thing is, this is something new for me to play with. My husband got his driver's license at 40. He has anxiety. The lady that gave him his license told him that he was going to get in a collision. Yeah, that's just garbage. I was a nervous. Okay, for starters, I'm turning 60 this year. So, yeah, Peggy opens the gate. Here's the thing. I'm turning 60 this year. I only got my license when I was 50. The reality is, I grew up in an environment where, for the most part, women, it was optional. I would say about 50 to 60% of the women I knew growing up did not drive. It was just not necessary. The town was small enough you could basically walk anywhere. I had a bicycle, so it's like get anywhere you want to go. No big deal. It was fine. Then things changed. Oh, women should drive. Okay, that's fine. Every single time I tried to learn to drive, I was really nervous. I was really uncomfortable, and I just really didn't want to do it. So I didn't, and it was never a problem, because anybody who said you driving is not a problem, you driving is a problem for me, it's like, well, okay, so fuck you. Like, I didn't care. It's like, I'm getting along just fine. I'm a nervous driver. Driving made me nervous. Traffic made me nervous. Getting behind the wheel made me nervous. It's like, so I'm an accident. This was my thing. I'm an accident waiting to happen, and I'm not really highly incentivized to be doing this in the first place. Why am I doing this again? I just didn't until I was ready. And for some people, I've got relatives who've never learned to drive. It's like, that's fine. Not one of my kids drives, one doesn't. That's fine. I don't fucking care. So when you are quilting, somebody walks up to you and goes, you're doing it wrong. It's like, do you have a warm blanket? Yes, I have a warm blanket. Then fuck you. I've got a warm blanket. This is all I need, right? So I'm going to put a few together because I can show you guys how this looks. So what you're going to want to do is cut all 4 sides. Pick your width. And like I said, I did this. I know I'm going to be working on, ideally I'm going to have this done this week, but if something comes up and I can't get it done this week, I need to be able to put it away and move it out of my way 15,000 times. And yeah, your poor husband, that sucks. That sucks. I will tell you right now, your husband's job at this point, anybody says, oh, well, you're an accident waiting to happen. You're this, you that. It's like, you're guaranteeing, why are you trying to guarantee that I'm going to be so worked up that I'm going to do that? Fuck you. That was always my answer. Here's another one. I still can't stand touching worms. Can't stand it. But I love going fishing, right? So you know what I did? Started wearing gloves. To go fishing. Took me two attempts to get my license. First time I tried to get my license, there was a construction site. Just, You come out of the driver testing center, turn, and you're already in the construction zone. Yeah. It's like, oh, so I've turned into a construction zone without knowing I'm in a construction zone and driving at 50 in a construction zone. Construction zone in Canada has reduced speed limit. So it was an auto fail. It was an automatic fail. Trying something new that makes you nervous, absolutely. But if it's not working, it's not fucking working. And anybody who wants you to feel like shit for that can go fuck themselves. Honestly. Okay. So right now, right this minute, I'm just doing 1 inch all the way around. I'm just trimming these up. I'll do 4. I can do 4 now. This is the one okay. I will tell you, even if you've already cut one, double check it. Because the last thing you want to do is find out that it's frayed to shit. I got my license at 18, moved to Toronto and did not drive again for over 30 years. Now I love driving in my small town, but would never drive on the highway. Exactly. It's like, and that is just the way it is, because people say this all the time. You do you, boo. It's like, abso-fucking-lutely, I will do me, boo. Like, okay, don't mind me. I just get on my soapbox about that shit. So many people are so afraid to try new things, and most of their fear is coming from the way other people treat them about it. And I don't like for Melissa, your husband, he has anxiety, right? So telling him, oh, you're going to get in an accident, that is not helping. It's like, oh, so you want me to stay anxious? It's like, fuck you. It's like, I don't know. And I get it. People that deal with anxiety, telling somebody fuck you does not help the anxiety. Oh my God. So, yeah. If I lived in California, I would never, yeah. Yeah. I hated worms. Now I'm a gardener and I love the squishy little buggers, protect them from the birds, etc. Here's the thing. I still won't touch a worm, but you know what I used to do? Okay. We used to go fishing, blah, 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 blah. I grabbed myself a cheap pair of gloves and I would wear a pair of gloves so that I didn't have to touch fucking worms. End of story. And you know what happened? Somebody tried to tease me. Oh, you're too much of a pussy to touch a worm. Whatever the. That's probably exactly the word they would have used back then. But anyway, oh, you're a chicken. It's like you're not much of a fisherman if you have to wear gloves to touch a worm. And I said, well, this is a problem for you. I can fucking go home right now. For some reason, they suddenly didn't have a fucking problem with it when I'm like, yeah, I'm not making myself suffer for this. Yeah, he got his license in one shot. Exactly. Here's the thing. When you make somebody afraid of something, of course, they're not going to want to do it. Of course, you're not helping somebody. Now, if somebody is just still working up to deal with slugs, oh, salt, just get a salt shaker. Slug, you can make a slug trap with, what the fuck did I make slug traps out of? Vancouver has horrible slug issues. Okay, 1, 2. I want them to all be different. I've got a couple of things that I need to decide on. Okay. 1, 2, 3. These 3 can go together. 4. There's 4 different ones. Okay. I got 4 different ones. I got that one. We'll do the first 2. This is really easy. Okay. For starters, what you're going to do is you are going to get your stuff together, and you're going to do this until you have as many. You're going to do your entire length or width. I like to do the width because then it's less to the longer the chain is, the harder it is. The longer the chain is, the more likely the next chain is going to have lining up issues. Okay, so nothing is one direction. I'm gonna cheat. Well, I'm not. I don't have anything in the right shape. Okay, this stuff here is one direction, right? What you are looking at right now I'm just gonna rough cut this because I know how many pieces I want to get out of it anyway. Okay, I need to show you guys this. I just saw the slugs in my bad neighbor's yard. Oh, that works. Okay. How long is this one? Oh, I've got more of this one. So I've got more of this one, and I've got plans. So if I cut it wrong and have a big piece of scrap, it's not going to be scrapped for long. Okay. I really need to show you guys this because this matters. So I'll get one. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's not going to be the right length anyway. Okay, let's go a little over 9. I'm going 9 1/4. I'm cutting. I've got this lined up at this end. I'm going 9 1/4 at this end. I know I'm going to be trimming it, and I know I don't have. Yeah, this is a cute one. Okay, this is just for demonstration purposes, but this matters. So I'm going to make sure I show you while I do it. Okay. So you have to visualize your quilt. We'll be seeing it. We'll be seeing more of that as we go along. But you have to visualize your quilt. Don't worry. Basically, what I do is I just stash shit everywhere, and then about once or twice a week, I get up, pick it all up, put it all away. Okay. Okay. So I've got this piece here, right? And I want to connect it to this piece here. Now, both of these fabrics are multi-directional. Upside right, upside down, right? So it does not matter which way these connect. Okay. Now what's happening here is this is one directional. If you are working with a project, if your project you don't fucking care, that's fine. Really? Tricia says, Moira, if you plant onions around the stuff you don't want the slugs to eat, it keeps them away. It makes a perimeter. I make a perimeter of them around my garden. If I'd have fucking known that, I had the most perfect garden in Vancouver. It was perfect. It was this little tiny, it was actually not a huge garden. It was not a huge garden, but it was an area that hadn't been used as a garden for I don't think ever. Black soil, perfect, super fertile, right? I've got tomatoes I've got tomato bushes that are almost as tall as I am. I'm getting zucchinis the size of my forearm, fucking huge. Wake up one day after a rain, most of it was destroyed because slugs are most active on wet days. Yeah, had some rain, brought all the slugs up, and they just destroyed everything in I think it was 2 nights. It was small gardens are amazing, especially if you've got fertile soil. But yeah, if I'd have known about the onions, I would have had onions everywhere. Okay, so this matters. Now, you have to decide how your quilt's going together. Am I making my lengthwise bad slugs? Am I making my lengthwise strips first, or am I doing my side to side strips? If I'm going to go top row, second, if I'm going to work from the top to the bottom, then this is the right direction. But if I'm going to go in rows left to right, then I have to make sure they're connected this way so they stay in the correct direction. Got it? Does that make sense? This ends up mattering because what you're doing here, you have the exact same dilemma no matter what type of a quilt top you're making, but you are quilting as you go. So if I have 2 of these that I'm connecting together and I'm going, this is going to be the top row of my quilt, right? Then I want to lay out my fabric exactly as you're laying out your fabric exactly as you want it to look on your finished blanket. So you're deciding, am I going row by row or column by column? If you don't care and you're all about the chaos, then you don't care and you're all about the chaos. That part's fine. But if you have single directional fabric and you care about which direction things are being put together in, just take a minute, right? Yeah, directional decisions. So as you are piecing together, as you're getting ready to do this stage and piecing it all together, make your directional decisions. Super easy. I'm making it sound far more, it's more complicated to explain it than it is to just do it. Yeah, it's just planning. So it's more complicated to explain it than to do it, but it's really important to remember that this is when you do it. That's the part that matters. You're doing it now. You can't necessarily fix it later, which is why, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Okay, I'm going to get this. Come on. I'm going to get this out of the way. So we're going to put 4 of these together so you guys can see exactly how this goes, because you'll be seeing it as I go, because I'm probably going to turn the camera on for most of this. Gives me a chance to hang out and shoot the shit while I'm working, right? I keep promising to show you these 2, right? These 2, yeah. I'm trying to get stuff out of the way to make room for myself. That can go there for now. Don't forget, once you've ironed something out, yes, you did a great job making it make sense. And so I have no idea what sewing requires. Okay. So yeah, sewing requires things, right? When you're doing a quilt, when you're doing anything that requires a pattern, you want to be aware of your pattern. This is when you have to take the time. All four of these pieces are multi-directional. Sometimes they're two directional. Sometimes like that was a single direction, right? Sometimes things are one direction. Sometimes things will go this way, and it's hard to describe. Next, you know what? I am absolutely willing to dive. What happened to the Mojo Bag video? Can't seem to find it. I'll look into that. Who knows? Every now and again, YouTube does stupid shit, so it's probably just YouTube being stupid again. So basically, this is what you're doing. You're making sure that this is lined up, right? As you get used to it, I still double check, make sure it's the direction I want. Pinch them any way that works for you. This is what I do. Flip them back to back. Because what you're going to do is you're going to take one glove off because you need a sense of touch. I need my sense of touch for this. You're going to line up that corner, this one right here, with that corner right there. Okay. And then you're going to line up this corner with that corner. You're going to pin it, clip it, or whatever makes sense for you. And I'm fucking lazy. We've discussed that more than once. Couldn't find it either. Need to use fabric that has pattern where it doesn't matter. Yeah, multi-directional. Okay, multi-directional fabric like this that goes in every direction, or that is just a thing, or that like that. That's yeah. I'll leave a comment or something. I'll look for that later. I'll see if I can figure out what happened in that video later. That is also this here. The pattern. It's still multi-directional. It doesn't matter. These are the best type. If you're using fabrics, I'm trying to imagine you're trying to keep my cat off the fabric. Did you guys see? Do you have any idea how many photos I have? The minute fabric hits the floor, I've got one dog or the other on it. I will say that a container with a lid, keeping it up high or stuff like that. And don't forget, okay, as soon as this is done, I'm washing it. And it's my dog. So if a little bit of dog hair finds its way into the batting of the fabric, I don't fucking care. So yeah, a fabric that does not have any clear up, down, left, right is really, really good if you're beginning. Okay. So another thing that matters, when I'm working with fabrics where it matters, I will at the very least put in some sort of a clip, because if I get distracted, I don't want to get distracted. You guys aren't seeing this very well. Okay. I don't want to, okay, this is all lined up. Okay, well, these are back to back, get distracted and end up sewing that piece instead of that piece. It only matters if you have directional fabric that's really going to get fucked up. Or if you're going like, say, I've got a ton of both of these and I'm going to go this, then pink, then this, then pink, then this, then pink. Obviously, you want to pay attention to that shit too. Okay, so I'm going to line up this with this with this, because these are small pieces and this is a boho project. So I'm going to double check here. Something else. Okay, so what you're also, I got to switch up my foot. That's fine. Switching out the feet is not that big of a deal. Switching out the feet is really, really not that big of a deal. The biggest issue with switching out your feet is just practicing, honestly. The walking foot can be tedious. You guys watch me struggle for 20 minutes one day. So now for this, I've got to bring my feed dog. Any machine that lets the feed dogs go up, when you're using a regular foot, the feed dogs do have to be up, so that does matter. Okay. And what you also want to do is you want to double check as best you can and make sure that this and this are not too far off. And you'll know it when it happens. But like say you're lining this up and this goes a little bit above this on the one side, then you might want to the foot, that's the foot. Yeah. So basically you're going to start all the way at the edge, pin it, clip it, do whatever works for you. This is a small enough piece that I'm just comfortable holding everything in place. I do backstitch here because, and you'll see why in a minute. So where you're putting your needle, you are putting your needle right beside the batting here. Okay. And you've either pinned it and clipped the shit out of it, or you've got your fingers here to make sure that you want to make sure that this batting and this batting are kind of even. So if you're confident, because you've done 400 of these things, you can just go a bit at a time, get that needle right down in there. If the needle happens to clip into your batting a little bit, don't worry about it. Do not. This is a trust exercise. This is the trust exercise of sewing. Okay. Keep going. Trust yourself too. What's happening here? I don't know if you guys can see this or not, so I'll bring this in. What's happening here? What's happening here is my fabric is being put. The fabric is not 100% to the edge here. See that? See the little gaps? Fabric is not 100% to the edge. The fabric is being kind of pushed out of place as we go. As long as the batting is still where it's supposed to be, it's okay. If you're concerned, lift your foot up, take your tweezers or whatever else makes sense, and just lightly tuck it back into place. And then keep going. Apparently my boob makes a great camera stand, because that's kind of what I realized I'm ending up doing. I've got my camera here. This is kind of nifty. So yeah, I'm just double check any way that makes sense and keep going. And I'm putting the needle right, the needle's going down right where the batting is. If you need to double check, if you're not confident and need to double check, you can come through and trim the batting up a little bit. Okay, back up a little bit. Bitch at your machine because it tried to eat your fabric a little bit, and it did try to eat my fabric a little bit. That's okay. That's okay. That's not, nobody's seeing that. Okay, that's this part. Okay. Apparently my boobs are really handy. You know who else likes my boobs? My wife comes in for a hug, and the next thing I know, she's got a hand on a boob, yanking it up there so she can kind of use it as a pillow. I'm like, the fuck are you doing? But you know, that's a thing. I'll put that there. So now you've got a piece that looks like this. Okay. If you're confident, you're just going to go. If you're not confident, then you're going to come in here and you're going to finger press it a little bit. Doesn't need to be perfect. You're just going to finger press it, right? Get the iron out if you want. If ironing it makes you more comfortable, then you're going to give it a quick zap with the iron. That's why I made her that little lumbar pillow, so she'd have something else, because it hurts when somebody's yanking your boob up onto your shoulder so they can rest on it. But anyway, we won't tell my. So basically, you're just going to go fold it. I don't know how well you guys can see it. So if you're having a problem, I will try to rearrange things. Fold it again, right? Fold it again. If you're not confident and you want it to, now you can make these look really, really sharp and get a lot closer to perfect than anything I ever tried. So, yeah. So this is where you're going to iron that right quick. I do often, I'm not going to because this is just the small side. So now what I will sometimes do, this can actually be a big time saver. What I will sometimes do is do everything in pairs. Do everything. If I'm going to be ironing it all down, then I'll do it in pairs. Go iron it all, because then ironing is just one job. Then do the next set. Then I've got 2 of these, 2 of these. So I'll take 2 of these and connect it to 2 of these and connect it to 2 of these. I don't really do that anymore. I like to take the time. To get a little bit of a finger press in, but I'm gonna leave this one and show you how I do it, just so you guys can see it. So yeah, you go through on both sides. So you just do that. And again, this piece up, we're going to be working with this piece up here. So I'll make sure that that's done next. Normally what I do, which I've been paying attention, I was too busy talking and didn't pay attention, right? Normally, because this is a very small, manageable chunk of what it is that I do, I would have done this one first, normally. Do this one first normally when it's the most, it's the easiest to control when it's in small pieces. So normally I would have spun that one around and done it first, just so that it's done, it's out of the way, and it's less likely to cause a problem later. Problems can be all sorts of things. Okay, so I'm not going to do the boob this time because I need both hands anyway. So assuming that you have ironed this into place or whatever, you're just gonna go along. There's your center line, which I actually kind of fucked that up. So I'll show you that in a minute. You're ironing that down. You're sewing that down. That's all you're doing. All the way to the edge again. Don't start here. Start all the way back to the edge. Back just a couple of stitches. You do not need to backstitch the shit out of this. Basically what you want later on, this is going to get folded in. That's going to get folded down as part of the process. And you do not want this just being this unraveled mess. It just makes it harder to work with. So do that. Do that. And I will say, if you're going, this looks awesome, but a quilt is too much, I'll have to go get something. All the way to the end. I will say, sometimes, and it's probably just me being it's just me being in a hurry, but sometimes the ends seem to like shift a little bit. You don't care. It's getting all sewn down. Come back to the top. Get into the habit of coming back to the top this way, because later on I'm going to be sewing like 8 strips together. So you don't always just get to flip it around, but what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to come all the way back to the top, fold that in, get it down there. If you're embracing the rustic boho thing, just fold it down, get it down there. You don't need to go crazy with your back stitching. And you're just catching that outside edge. What happened? Oh, that's just the I think that's just the loose thread. Every now and again, these loose threads will get sewn down and start pulling forward. You just trim them. And then once you start getting a little lower, you just keep going. This is just folding it into place as you go will make it, like I said, I'm gonna have 7 of these in a row, because I'm gonna go top, then next to the bottom. I'm gonna have 7 of these in a row, and I'm just gonna be going down for like 7. I'm just gonna keep going all the way down for as big as I want this to be, right? Okay, blah, 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 blah. Do. Well, yeah, okay, this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter when you're at this stage, but like I said, later on, I'm going to have 7 at a time, and it's actually often, it'll depend, but it's often quicker just to take this off, bring it all back down again. It's hard because, I'll explain the because in a second. Okay. So we set that aside. We're going to play the game and pretend that we're going to pretend that this goes on for 7 more or 5 more of these. Okay. We're going to pretend. There's that. We're going to pretend. What time is it now? Oh, it's 4:15. Now, I will say this has taken me a lot. I mean, I keep stopping to talk, right? I'm going to try a reading cloth instead. I don't think I can handle a massive quilt. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me see. Let me just go get. Do I have one? This is how I finish my quilts. This is how I finish my quilt. You take this, you take your top piece of fabric, you take your batting, you take this, you cut it to an inch all the way around, you do this, and you've got a reading cloth. You've got a reading cloth. Okay. Let me just go get two things. I'm gonna go get two things to show you guys. Don't have the other one handy. This, la 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 la. This is using the exact same. This is the exact same technique. Okay, I made one of these really big. I made one of these in a pattern really big, and then there's my bottom. Okay, let me see if you guys can see this. There's the bottom. That's a patterned fabric. That's a plain fabric, right? Pattern. See that? See that? Same fucking technique. Exact same technique. Okay. So what I did here was essentially I took this. Okay. I took this and then I came back here. I sewed that down all the way around. Okay. Then I flipped it backwards and turned it into a bag. That's what I did. That's how I make those bags. You know what? I've got the other fabric that Lisa wants to see. I'm still gonna, you guys are still stuck hanging out with me while I do this stuff. And this, same thing. Okay. So for this one here, this is a little different. What I did was I made a big ass square. Okay. Oh yeah. You know what? Let's turn this into a tutorial right fucking now. Okay. So for this one here, and we'll do this one again. Well, I'm not doing this one, obviously. For this one here, this is the fabric that I want on the back. Okay. I want it to match. So I'm going to use this fabric here. I made 4 triangles. I connected them. I connected them. So I made 4 triangles. Then I connected these 2 with that piece, right? I connected these 2 with that piece. I connected these 2 with that piece. And then I had the long piece to connect this to this. We can do it. I can make it with just, yeah, exactly. Oh, I can absolutely make it with just 2 squares. It's going to be tiny, but I can make it with 2 squares. Okay. So we're going to right now make a mini version. We're going to make a mini version of what Lisa wants. So I used backing fabric. I saved some of the backing fabric. This is, how big is this? This is a 1 inch. So what I did was I had the backing fabric. I made myself a square. I made myself one big square using fabric that I also used for the back. And then I did the exact same thing here and just folded it up all the way around and finished it. Isn't that nice? That is really, and this was 100% made from scrap. And the batting is a piece of, I can tell by feeling now because I can tell by feeling because I've been doing it for a really long time now. The batting in this is just a piece of flannel. You could use a layer of old t-shirt. You could do this if you have a basket of scraps somewhere and one relatively large piece of fabric, or one who was it that just said they got some old tablecloths? So bunch of scrap and one largish piece of fabric for the back, and we can make this together anytime. Maybe that's the next hangout with me while I make some shit. I have not done a reading mat. Lisa's gonna get so mad at me. Hey honey, welcome home. I got some shit for you. Okay. This is how this goes. This is super simple. I've already got everything I need, so we're gonna do it. Yeah. I'm going to sacrifice these 2 pieces of fabric because I've got more square fabric. Don't worry. I'm good. Okay. This is the exact same technique as this. Okay. All I did with this was I made, to make it the size I wanted. I don't know if it's going to fold out properly. So I took 4 squares. I took 4 8-inch squares of scrap. So I took scrap, yellow, green, yellow, green, yellow, green. I made 4 square. I took scrap, sewed it all together, right? I made 4 8-inch squares, and then I sewed them together. Okay. Then I just measured out what I wanted. What I wanted for this. Let's get that out of the way for a second. I'm so excited about this. This is super easy, and you're going to see that in a minute. Okay. So now what I did for this one here, now the one we're going to play with in a second is square. I wanted this to be a square, but when you make a bag, you lose a little bit on each side for each side in the bottom. Right? When this bag is full, you've got each side. Let's get the camera. Let's see if I can get the camera back. Oh, you know what? Let's flip my cameras. Let's flip my cameras. You guys might get a better view if I flip my cameras. Okay. So you've got your, just do a headstand if you can't see this properly. Okay. So I've got the green and yellow stripy stuff. Those 2 are going in the same direction. I fucked that up. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. Did I fuck that up? Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. This one here is hard to see. This one here is harder to see, but there's a slightly different pattern in the center. The pattern is more triangular in the center, so it connects differently. Okay, so we're going to look at this. So what I did was I put 4 8-inch blocks together, turning it into with your seam allowances, I think it turns it into a 15 by 15. Is it 15 by 15? Yeah, it's about 15 to 16, because you have seam allowance, so about 15-inch. And then because I knew the bag was gonna expand out to like this when it was full, I added a 2-inch piece, side, bottom, side. Now you guys can't see. Once I went side, bottom, side, and added 2-inch pieces, right? Then I did not add a 2-inch piece to the top. It goes straight to the top. I did not add a 2-inch piece to the top. Oh, that mat. Oh yeah. That mat. We can make one together. How would I do it? I wouldn't do it with the square fabric though. I'm not sure that would. We can make one together. I mean, we can do that, and it's not hard. It's not that hard at all. One of the biggest time sucks of sewing is sorting out your fabric, trimming up, getting your fabric ready, sewn, getting your fabric ironed and prepped and cut to size. Getting all that shit done can sometimes be way more tedious, but we can do a simplified version of that anyway. And then I did exactly. Now, when I was done this, I just put a single stitch here and here because I can. Why did I do that? They're separate. Just for aesthetics. Okay. So we're going to go back to this one. Okay. This is super simple. Let's get over here. Let's flip my cameras back again. This is simple. Okay. Yeah, choosing fabric can take more time Choosing your fabric can take almost as much, if not more time. And then if you've decided that you want to wash your fabric first versus just using your fabric, or if you've decided that you want to match your fabric a certain way, you may pick 5 fabrics knowing that you're breaking it down to 2. You might want certain little teeny tiny features that are tedious. Okay, this is simple, kids. We're going to go right to the fucking sewing machine because we're almost done. Oh, what did I do? I hit a button. No, I didn't. Everything's fine. Okay. So basically what's happening is what's happening here is if I do the next 2, then I'm going to connect them here, either here, or I'm going to add them to the end, right? So we're going to assume, let's play the game that we've gotten. Let's play the game and pretend that we've done small ones. We've used the same technique to hook that, to hook 4 of these together, any way that you want it to work, right? So you've got 2 of these. Life is good. Just the 2. That's all I need is just the 2. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to fold this up. I'm taking advantage of my knee lift. Stop, iron, pin, clip. This is a great use of this area here. This is a great use of clips, by the way. Get everything the way you want it. Get everything the way you want it and throw on your clips so it's not moving around while you're working with it. All the way to the end. All the way to the end. All the way down. As a matter of fact, all the way to the end. Trim your thread. Okay. You're not going to, there's not really a way to come here and then turn that corner without taking it out. Turn that. You can either go in straight. I'm going to go in straight because you can either turn it to an angle and turn it in, which is going to be a mitered edge. Let's see if I can get my boob to work again. Come on, boob, time to work. Okay. Oh my God, this is like, I feel like such a perv now. Okay. So you can just turn that up and turn that in and make it nice and square. It won't matter. It's just the sewing machine sound or the sound of me fighting with my boob. I'm not sure which. I'm just checking, asking for a friend because I'm feeling a total creeper right now. Okay. So you use what you got. Do you know what I do to hold down my interfacing? When I am cutting interfacing, I literally lean in and just let my stomach, I lean in until my stomach is resting on the table and just use that like a third hand. So we just go, go, go. If for some reason you're doing this by hand, now the one thing that I should have done differently, when you're sewing these 2 pieces together here, yeah, boob cam. When you're sewing these 2 pieces together here, it's often easier to use a tighter stitch down here because that's the only thing holding these 2 together. Down the edge we go. Sometimes this is where this block is meeting this block, and sometimes I'll do a reinforcing stitch right where the 2 meet, right across that joining line. Sometimes I'll do a extra thing. Hey, Kendra, we are just making a mini tote bag just to show, just for shits and giggles because we can, to show one example of things that you can do with a quilt as you go technique. Like, don't forget, I can go grab that dog blanket that I already have in the back and do the exact same thing with it. Basically, all I'm doing here is I've got some loose threads and stuff. I'm just tucking them in. If it's really obvious, of course, I'll trim it off. But once this is sewn down, these loose threads are not coming out, not now or not ever. And if you waste your time trying to yank out every single one of those threads, you'll be there all day and you'll peel your fabric back to the point where you don't have enough seam left to work with. Oh, just hooking down that edge. And Hi, Melissa. Everybody's showing up. Okay. Sorry, I guess I can't. If I laugh, it goes. Okay. Fold it up. Flip it around. And again, like I said, now this for your corners, get rid of extra because it's just going to pop out and show up. Fold it in, fold it over. I wonder if this is what everybody else does that's got all these cool cameras and they're just not admitting it. I don't know. Okay, what you doing now? There we go. I was just trying to hang up. It didn't want to move uphill, as it were. Okay. La 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 la. Now, once you get the one end, once you get this end where you want it, once you get this end down here where you want it, just hold it in place. See how that's kind of all bubbled up and shit? The fabric will do a pretty good job of going where you want it. You don't have to be rougher. These gloves are great for giving you an extra grip, but they can be really sticky, and the fabric, I don't know if you can see all the little bits that are stuck to it. If you do decide on these kind of gloves, don't let this it's just peeling up a tiny bit. Yeah, it's boob cam. We found out boob cam works. Don't ask. So this picks up a teeny tiny bit of coloring off of the fabrics. I work with so many dark fabrics all the time. These are actually clean, but if you're working with particularly dark fabrics, expect these types of gloves to just look like shit. Look like shit. Just get used to it. They wash up nicely. I try not to get them in the dryer. I'm not necessarily confident that the rubbery stuff is good to go in the dryer, but they wash just fine. So when you're coming around your corner, I mean, you can see that a little tiny bit of carelessness there. You can see that this piece here should be perfectly straight with that, and it's not. I'm just being a little lazy and a little careless and a little distracted, and that's fine. Boho, rustic. Yeah, it picks up the inks. So if you are using this kind of a glove and it's like, if you are using this kind of a glove and it happens to be a white one, which most of them are, I don't know why. I guess, you know what? It's a good sales thing. If most of them are white and you don't like looking like it's dirty, then you're going to sell more because people are going to want to replace them more often. But no, it's just like regular fabric. It picks up the inks, and the rubbery fingertip acts a bit like an eraser, like for picking up stuff. So yeah, it does that. Okay, I'm mostly talking and going way too fucking slow. I got a lot of loose stuff here. It's not like I tuck every last bit of it in. Oh, my camera's in the way. That's why. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. Not going to bother moving the camera because this is almost done. It is almost done. Almost done. Gonna get a little. Okay, I got a little thread to show off there. There we go. Normally I would be folding this. Normally I would be back here. I come all the way to the back. Camera's not trying. I'm gonna get the camera over here again because we're closing it. I'm normally like all the way back. There we go. I'm normally like all the way back here quite often, double checking and making sure everything's where it's going to be. The camera was just getting in the way of that, so I was getting a little too close. Normally I would have had that sorted out by now. Okay. I've got some loose thread here, but I'm just going to leave it until I've sewn past it. So I'll get up there where I just feel like I'm getting a more solid seam if I backstitch where these cross over that. And I've never had, I have occasionally had the seam at the very corner here come out just from wear and tear and whatever. but the seams don't pop all that much, and the seams can sometimes pop at the outer edge of the fabric, which is where this is the outer edge now, right? And all the way to the top. And back stitch. Once you get to this, once you get to the very last one, back stitch. Not sure what that is. Double check your stuff. We're almost done. Okay. This is really easy. You don't even need to, yeah, Boob Pro. Yeah, Peggy a GoPro for her boobs. I know. Okay, so this is super easy, guys. We're like almost done. I've got, see that line? We know that's the center because we got a 9-inch block there and a 9-inch block there. So you fold it. Now you've got two choices. Okay, is the other one still there? Okay. Okay, you got two choices. This one here, I sewed it, I've turned it inside out and then sewed it so that it goes like that. So that it's a proper seam looking thing, right? So I can turn it, I can just sew it down here. Let me get that bag back up. Let me put that there for a second. By the way, if you put two or three layers of batting, if you put another layer of batting in this, or even if you don't, now it can be a nice pot holder for your table. Oh, this reminds me, my mom just got a new sewing machine. There you go. So I can sew it like that. Let me just get this back out again. I don't know if this bag's been washed multiple times. So see the extra. See, you can see where it's been sewn together, right? And then it goes to the outside, and that's what you see. So do you want to see that on your outside? Because it's not going to matter. Or do you want to see that on your outside? Also not going to matter. But you just have to decide, right? So I'm going to do it from the back just to be schmancy. I will say that if you do it from the back, from the inside, like this, you just fold it in half. It's simple, right? Start, go back here, line it up. This, I will tell you right now, you're going through a lot of layers. You're going through a lot of layers of fabric at that corner. So I will say that it's usually better to go a little bit to the front. I've mentioned before about sewing uphill, right? Yeah. So basically you do one and you've got one, you do these individually, just do one, then go all the way around. You got a pot holder. You're done. If you're really, now these are not going to be thermal pot holders. You're not putting it's not going to be as good as a regular pot holder. If you want this to be a regular pot holder, you may want to, you're probably going to want one extra layer of batting, and it needs to be cotton batting. You cannot, you can't use polyester for pot holders. You cannot use you can use whatever the fuck you want. If you use polyester batting for a pot holder, double check, because most of them will melt. Okay. I'm going to start past my needles here. Well, you guys can't see shit right now. Back to the boob cam. Okay. Okay. I'm starting well past this edge, and I'm going to back up. So I'm starting by going backwards because most machines don't want to stitch uphill, and I'm going over a couple of times. Do they sell a batting that is heat proof? Yes, they do. You can, okay. I would use this as a pot holder, pulling something out. I'm saying it very, very badly. Okay. If I were to use this as a pot holder and I'm taking something out of the microwave, fine. I would just put two down. I've made a couple of pot holders. They're great. They work beautifully. But if I'm putting something that is particularly hot, I'll stack two. So I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm saying this very badly is what I'm doing. Okay. One side's done. But yeah, you can buy fabric specifically for making pot holders. That's fine. Again, this is going to be a bag. So if for some reason something has shifted, boho and embrace the rustic. If for some reason something has shifted and one side's a little off from the other, don't worry. You're using your bag like this. Nobody will notice, right? Okay. So start when you're going through about 4 bazillion layers of fabric. You can also like blanket stitch. You can also blanket stitch this down. Oops, that's too close to the edge. Okay, back up we go. Okay, this is too close to the edge. Pick it up, move it over a little bit, whatever. Did you guys see that? I don't know if you guys could see that. I had both hands up and in the way, but because of the way it was pushing, it didn't want to keep going. Yeah, as long as I'm making sense. That's the thing to remember. I've encountered in various sewing groups that I've been in. Yeah, just make them thicker for harder things or make multiples so that you can stack them up for harder things. And it has to be 100% cotton. The funny thing is that I use polyester thread and I haven't had a problem with the thread. But polyester batting apparently can be a problem. I don't use the polyester batting that I was messing around with the other day. That's really I very rarely mess with that stuff at all. Okay, when you're coming down to the very edge here, your machine might struggle to get to the very corner. But keeping in mind, okay, this bag is done. All I have to do is add handles. Okay. Yeah, like if I want to, okay, let's go back over here. If I want to, I can do this. If I want to, I can do this. Come on. Poking out the corners is, if you cannot get exactly to the corner on this, keep in mind that when you poke out the corners, it's going to automatically fill in the gap with that fabric that you're trying to stiff. If I absolutely wanted to, I could take this and then sew that down, and now I've got a nice thick pot holder, right? Sew this side down as well, crisscross, and I'm done. I've got a 4-layer, well, one layer of fabric, 1 layer of batting, 1 layer of fabric, 1 layer of fabric, 1 layer of batting, 1 more layer. I got a 6-layer pot holder. Anyway, this is now the bag. This is now a cute little bag that you're not trying too hard with. I'm not going to box the corners because I don't have to, but I can now, if you're going to put a zipper on the top, then you want the zipper. You can put a zipper on the top now, but I wouldn't put a zipper in a bag like this. No open seams because everything's already been closed up. Very, very simple, very, very basic. If you guys want to do boxing, let's box this. Okay, this is easy to box. Yeah, this is super simple. And don't forget, you do not have to switch out to the darning foot. You do not have to quilt this. People come in here and just go 1, or they make diagonals. Or just check what your batting is rated for. If your batting is rated for 4 inches, this is a 4-inch ruler, then you have to put a stitch here, and a stitch there. And do the same. That's it. So this is super easy. Lisa's not home. 444. What does 444 mean? Oh, by the way, my wife is officially fucking crazy thanks to you guys. Oh my God, she is so high strung the last few days. I don't know what she's at right now, but and we're pretty, yeah. You guys are so supportive. Okay. So, and also, okay, I've got that for the inside, right? That's on the inside. I want to be stealth. I've still got a bag. That's awesome. If you want to box it, there's a really cool thing. If you cut fabric on a diagonal, it does not fray. This matters Because if you want to box your bag, you got to take out 2 diagonal chunks out of the corner. She's just, oh my God, she is so hyper. She's like hyper, going to bed now. And oh God, what happened the other day? We had the stupidest fight. What was it about? Oh my God, I can't remember. I cannot remember what it was about. It was one of those ones where it's like we're on the verge of a fight, and it's like, why are we fighting over this? And we just both crack right up. It's like, oh, I guess I'm a little stressed. It's like, yeah, I guess you are. Okay. So, boho rustic, I don't give a shit about life. Take your 2 corners, karate chop the middle, line up your corners here, line up everything. Realize that you fucked that up. Okay. Karate chop your corner and get it lined up to your bottom. Which way am I going to do that? These, I'm sorry I couldn't get it yet. Hopefully I'll soon start getting paychecks. I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, we've got plans for it to, it's, oh, have to drive. That's okay, Melissa. Lisa's going to be home any minute now, and then I'm going to have to get off here anyway. So for this, to box the corner, you can start measuring shit. This is the, let's see how fucking lazy Peggy can be. Grab a corner, pull it. Get that lined up, so that this center is lined up with that center. Line it up all the way down, karate chop the shit out of that, and then push it like that and get it going. Okay, is it good enough? Why, yes, it's good enough. There we go. Open it up. Now decide how big of a bottom you want to be. So I don't know that I want to go super crazy, so I am going to line up my ruler, back down the bottom, stop looking at my boobs. Okay. I really hope it makes it to unlocking stickers. I thought it already did. I don't know. Okay. So boxing the bottom is literally, you've got literally finding the point of your corner and going across. I'm gonna need something to mark for this. And lining up your ruler with the center seam, deciding how wide you want things to be. And I want this to be, okay, let's just do it the lazy. No, that's not going to work. Okay. So you're lining everything up as best you can. There's more than one way to do this. Trust me, there's more than one way to do this. I'm just showing you Peggy's lazy way. Do this at your own risk, because if you do it the lazy way that I'm going to show you, there's a really good chance that you're going to end up, that it's not going to be perfect, but I don't care most of the time. So I am going to, oh, there you go. I'm by, where's my 45-degree line? I got a 45-degree right here. So I'm going to put my 45-degree line right there. And then, why is that off center? That shouldn't be. Yeah, that's right. Why isn't that right? Oh, because I'm looking at the wrong lines. It would really help if I look at the right shit, right? So I want this to be 1, 2, 1, 2. I don't want it to be super, super huge, but you do need to mark it. You do need to mark it because you got to be able to sew along it. Of course, it's not marking. Of course, I'm just gonna. There we go. Let's see if that one works. Okay, that's barely showing up. This is going to be fun. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. 2 inches. Measure along. So I'm just putting one of these sideways lines here, and then organizing it out, and then fiddling and farting until I've got 1 inch on this side and 1 inch on this side. But the thing is that what's really tempting, you have to measure it according to where the stitch lines are, not where the fabric itself lands, which can be really, really weird and weird. Anyway, come on, you can do it. Oh, I can see the pen line now. Yeah, different size seam rippers are a thing. Okay, backing up, forward up. Okay, so the really cool thing about this, I like to do back stitching. My mom would steal her chalk. Oh yeah, chalk is great for marking sewing. It used to be a big thing for people to have like massive stashes of chalk kicking around. Now, if you already know up front, remember how I was saying about getting down to that very bottom corner and blah, blah, blah. If you already know up front that you're boxing your bottom, then you know that you can be a little bit lazy about making sure you get that exact corner taken care of, right? Do. Come on, get out of here. It's over there. But I have a pair of scissors here that I can use. I've got a couple of pair of scissors that are really, really crappy scissors, but I keep them because then if I'm doing something like cutting paper or something you don't want to mess up your sewing scissors. So now I'm just cutting a 1/4 inch on each side. Look, I have little finger. Too bad there's not some way to just sew these together and make them into little finger pot holders. Look, I have little pot holders for mouse. Okay, I think I'm funny, so just deal with it. This has batting on it. So this is fine the way it is because I'm going diagonally across the fabric. When you cut diagonally across the fabric, it doesn't fray, but I also just don't want to take chances. Don't want to screw around. I'm just going to go into a basic zigzag stitch. I'm not going too crazy here. That's it. I'm not worried about the fabric fraying. It'll just, but it'll also help keep the batting from coming out. I don't want to pick it out because I don't want to make it worse. And I screwed up, by the way. When I said before about this zigzag stitch, I said go just over. I said go just past your stitch line onto the left-hand side. You want to stay near the stitch line, but stay on the right-hand side so that when you fold your stuff back inside right, you don't see the thread. I fucked that up. Somebody pointed that out to me. It's like, oh, if you do it on the other side, if you do it on the opposite side to what you said, then you're because when you turn this inside right, if you've zigzagged over this, if you've zigzagged over your stitch line, then when you turn it inside right, your stitches will be visible. Okay, so here we go. Lisa's not home yet. So basically, we started with a cute little bag that we can double. We started with one of these. We started with one of these that you can then turn into a light duty pot holder. It's also can be like a mini. It can also be like a mini placemat. Okay, so we started with one of these for a light duty pot holder. Then we connected another one to it that folds over to become a heavier duty pot holder. Then we connected them together in a way that makes them into a bag. And now we've boxed the corners and have a proper little bag. Now I have a hammer. Oh, she's home. Damn, she got home. I was hoping. Hi.
What were you hoping to do?
I was hoping to have this. Oh no, I was hoping to have this done before you could get home.
The whole quilt?
No.
Oh goodness.
We're doing something else now.
What are we doing?
We found a tangent to play. We're making a little mini bag.
A mini bag? What's it got on it?
Nothing for you. Back up.
Are you sure?
Nothing for you.
I'm gonna go look.
Not for you.
I'm peeking.
No.
Hi, internet. Lisa's peeking.
That.
Hi. Hello. Does this say? What does this say?
It's a sweary fabric.
Fuck off. Sorry. I mean, good morning. Can I put coffee in it? I feel like this is the kind of thing that should have coffee in it. Hello. I just got back from work. Can you tell? This is cute. Are you putting handles on it?
Her being hyper.
This side.
All your fault, internet.
This side says light in the fuck. Why is it the internet's fault? Don't make me hyper.
I like supporting you. Ooh,
oh, that's because y'all are so nice. What'd you find?
Stuff.
I'm taking over your live stream. This is a Lisa takeover. What are we sewing? I don't actually want to sew. Don't make me sew.
Those are handles.
Oh, is this like a little mini tote? Look at the handles.
It's gonna be, and I'm gonna put a snap on it.
Oh.
Are you gonna get the fuck out of my way?
Which side the snap's going on?
They're gonna go to the inside so it can close. Well, it doesn't have to close.
These snaps don't match. Oh, maybe actually the pink one matches. What am I saying? The pink one matches. Those bags would be cute as a gift holder also. I don't know. Hi, Nanny V.
Well, you know what? I screwed-
Hello.
It would be better if I'd have put that. It would have been better if I'd have put that on earlier, but I'm gonna still put the handles on. Mwah.
Did you want me on your spot now?
Yeah,
Okay. Are you making me dinner?
probably not.
Okay. You have fun sewing. Okay. Sit down. Take your spot back.
I want to finish this.
You finish that.
Okay.
Love you, Internet.
Okay. So this is where we're at right now. I have these, except for if you're going to add these, then you're going to want to pop one in. I can put them in now. I can put a little snap in now, but it's not going to look as good. But I found this. I found this, and I'm wondering if that would look good on that. Little handles. I'm putting handles on it. Fuck it, I'm putting handles on it. This has been. Has anybody ever been to a lovely Japanese store named Daiso? That's where I got these from. I got these from Daiso. I'll tell you right now, you go into your regular sewing store and you're gonna get these for like $20 a set. I walked into Daiso and found it for like, yeah, see Daiso, it says right on it. For 2-piece, and there's no price on it. Daiso at the time, Daiso was selling everything for like $1, $1.50. Daiso is a discount. Daiso is a Japanese discount store. Okay, so we're gonna put these on. We're gonna put these on just because we can. So this is 2 pieces. That is this. That is your snaps. And 2 of these. 1, 2. Okay, I got 4 of these. Now I'm going to be super fucking lazy here. Super lazy. This one I'm going to measure. They have to match. I'll do them from the inside. Oh my God, everything. This okay, why do you think it takes me 6 months to make a quilt? This is why it takes. Come on, what's going on? No, we don't want to. This is not going to happen. There we go. Yep, we're in focus now. Okay, so there's 2 brown leather handles. They don't quite match, but we don't fucking care, okay? Because we are going to take a piece of scrap fabric. This matters. We're going to be back over here for a second. We're going to take this. See, the thing is, okay. You can just do whatever works. I just don't have a narrow enough piece. I'm going to go make this a little wider. 3 should do it. I make this really narrow. Okay, now I'm going to check. Okay, I just hit my thread cutter and the thread didn't cut, right? So before you panic, don't touch anything and go over on the side and just roll just manually move your foot, manually roll yourself forward 1 or 2 stitches and see if it finishes the cut for you. Okay, that's got to go more. I'm sizing. That'll do it. Okay. Do. I'm over here measuring shit. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. Okay. 8. Okay, so you generally want your straps to be 1/3 of the way in. Well, that's about right. 8, which means 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, and 6. That's wrong. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 2, 2. Okay, I found my spots. La 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 la. You kind of have to you kind of have to decide on your own where you want your shit to be when you're measuring something out for when you're measuring something out for handles and stuff. You really gotta. What you really gotta do is not get so aggressive with your marking that you end up marking your thing, your mat. Okay, there it is. Okay, we're gonna do that. And we're gonna do that. And I'm gonna hold that in place. I am being super fucking lazy, and we'll see if this works. Now, if I fuck this up, okay, I'm gonna do this by hand the first couple of stitches. Come on, why are you not going? Seriously, you're not gonna go? Perfect. Okay. There we go. Ooh, got the first one on. A little bit of back stitch action. Okay, that one's done. Okay, go down to the other one. Ooh. Okay, all I'm doing, what I've done so far is I fiddled and farted over here, and I'm just zigzag stitching these on because what I did was I took my zigzag and made sure that my zigzag was going to be wide enough so that I'm not at risk of hitting the metal piece with the needle. And then I did the first couple of stitches by hand just to make sure that I could get a good start. And now I'm not going super fast. Come on, and I'm just holding everything in place with my tweezers. Seems to be hanging up a little bit. That's fine. Oops, it's hanging up a little bit. Let's give it a little pressure from this end. Okay. Okay, and we got, I'll trim up the threads later. Now this is easy. This part's easier because you just flip it over and you can pretty much eyeball it into position. See, there's the boho, right? It's thicker here. Oh, you got, okay, I can see it really easy, but this area here is thicker than this one here. This is pretty easy. You just flip it, line it up to where you lined it up on the first one. Get it into the machine and just get going. As long as they more or less line up, I never worry about perfect, especially if you know what? I'm probably going to give this away. Should I do a giveaway right now or should I do one? Because I think, should I do a giveaway right this second? Gives you guys better odds. Or should I do it for later? I know a bunch of people had to get going. So for this one here, what I've got is when you're setting, most machines, when you're setting up a zigzag stitch, will let you pick how wide your stitch is going to be and how close the stitches are going to be together. So this is like 4.5 millimeters wide, but I'm only allowing it to move forward 1/4 millimeter at a time, which is why it's doing this. La la la, la la. Who wants us to? Yeah, do it later. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna do a giveaway. I'm going to do a giveaway, so just there we go, that goes up. Let's get it finished first, because if it's too ugly, you guys aren't well. Okay, this is about the novelty of something that's got swearing all over it. This is definitely not the right handle, but it's the only one I have that's small enough to fit, and I'm not. This is a fuck it project using fuck it fabric, so I think it's perfect. There we go. So your first little bit of stitching, when you're using a zigzag to hold something like this down, you've got to keep an eye on it for the first little bit. Once it's got a little bit of stitching on it, yeah, I think we should let the others have a chance because I've been at this for what, 3 hours now. What's going on right now is that this is a little this gets a little heavy and it's not really wanting to move through the machine very well. So I'm just putting a little bit of pressure here. I'm not going crazy with the pressure. I'm just putting a little bit of pressure here to help it get underneath the foot because it's got to. If I don't help it, it's just kind of staying in one spot. It's still moving, but not as much. Okay, and I'm at the end now, and I'm backing up. Get a bit of back stitch going. So I'm done. Okay, this is done. So if you already happen to have some sort of a strapping or something like that already available, then this step doesn't matter. This is not a step that you have. Okay, you're still going to want to put some sort of a clasp on it, right? This is by no means straight, but then neither am I, so that's fine. I saw this and I thought this would be cute. If anybody it does actually use this for anything, because you can you can unhook this. Oh, and it's on a swivel. This is the funny thing. This is why I'm in love with Daiso. This is actually a pretty high-end strap here. It swivels, so you can't really fuck it up. That one's on. All you want to do is make sure that you're looping it so that this has got a good shiny good side, and then it's got the slightly rougher side. Both sides are nice, but there. Come on, it's it's slipping. Everybody needs a cursing bag. Oh, exactly. Okay. Take that. And I will tell you right now, the one really cool thing about a bag like this, it's washable. Because the Quilt As You Go technique leaves all your seams covered, so you just do things. So yeah, so this is a nice little now we have a nice little catch-all. Now we have a nice little catch-all that will hold a few basics and odds and ends. Maybe a lunch bag, maybe a little lunch bag for little snacks or something. But anyway, yeah. We will do a giveaway on that. I don't know. What should we say? You know what? Just this is not a super busy channel. Just put in I'd love to win the bag. Just make sure you leave a comment stating that you would love to be leave a comment. I'll check the comments if you would like to be entered, and then we'll get everybody's name. I'll tell you right now, the Quilt As You Go technique and I'm not even okay. I learned this. This is the fucked up part. I learned this, right? And then when I swung back, I learned it. I was doing stuff. I actually made a couple quilts, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to swing back and double check that video that I saw where I learned how to do this Quilt As You Go. I'm going to double check and swing back and double check that video because I want to try. I forget why, right? It wasn't the right video. It was different. It wasn't. I have never. And then I realized I think I accidentally developed something. I have never seen anybody else do this, and I've never seen. But yeah, look at this. Oops, look at this while I put it on my face. Like, so we've got a nice little box bottom. This is okay, and this is not perfect. Just this is not perfect. This one's good. This one's tilted. We already know that. Okay, well, this was a fuck around. Yeah, I'm gonna fuck around and put two together and show you guys how it's done. And now I'm gonna and now it's a bag. Yes, it was easier than I thought to do, and it didn't turn out very cute. It's cute. Swearing is cute. Okay, so yeah, lighten the fuck up. Fuck off. So basically whatever you want to say is the piece of. I'm hoping that's a typo, Tammy. No, this is a really cute design. This is These are the exact same technique. This is the thing. These two bags are the exact same technique. They're just instead of this I made a quilt block. I made a block for this and then did it. I had a feeling that's what you meant, Tammy. I'm just giving you a hard time. Somebody needs a hard time, and that's just the way life goes, right? Yeah, this is just a zipper bag that I made. By the way, I think I did a tutorial on. Oh, please, my God, I've done more embarrassing things on purpose just for fun. Like, come on, nothing. There's nothing more fun than a typo. Yeah, that's a different project. See, I had that. I think that's the last time I made a zipper bag. I don't think I've made one. I made one for a while, but this and that tote bag down there are the exact same technique. I used the exact same technique, just applied it a little bit differently. And yeah, so we will do a draw. I am going to get going because my wife is. What are we doing? Oh, she's off. She's off getting her makeup off and doing everything, all the girly shit that girlies do. And not that I don't appreciate the girly shit. Oh yeah, we knew what you meant, Tammy. And besides, I usually manage to tease somebody at some point. Today's just your turn, and I'm really surprised that it took me 3 hours to do it. Don't worry about it. Never, ever, ever worry. Yeah. Look at that. So here's the thing. We have a cute little bag. This is super cute. This was just super fuck around. Okay, we weren't even trying. I say we, right? I am mouthing off and getting distracted and doing all my shit. I wasn't even trying. Bye, Kendra. I wasn't even trying. This is how easy this technique gets once you have a little practice with it. If you're volunteering, Tammy, I'm more than happy. I always need somebody to harass. So yeah, I am super happy with the results of this bag. This was super simple, super easy. And like I said, we weren't even trying. I wasn't even trying. We were joking around, shooting the shit. But still, you know what though? It's still a quilt tutorial because I got to put this somewhere now. I sacrificed 2 blocks for the cause, but this exact same technique is what makes the quilt. Basically, instead of stopping at 2, I'm going to go to 7, and then I'm going to do 7 more and connect them. Then I'm going to do 7 more and connect them. So basically, it's just how big of a thing are you going to make before you call it quits? This is what the quilt as you go technique does for me, right? So I am going to continue doing these. I've got a lot to do. Tomorrow, but yeah, like, so you saw how I connected them. So I'll connect that to that. Then I'll connect that to that, right? I've got the camera up to it. Then I'll connect that to that. Exact same technique. This, yeah, like Trisha said, this technique makes a ton of stuff. And it's the simplest thing that I've ever tried to live. Do I have an Insta or Facebook page? Okay. I just literally, like, when did I do this? Yesterday or the day before? I literally started a Facebook group. Let me go get it. People ask me about starting a Facebook group, so I literally just started a Facebook group. And I'm so clever. Actually, I'm not clever. Somebody else come up with a name, and I just thought it was cool, so I used it. That is the group. I think you just get you just get the link. It's called In Stitches. Who was it? Moira. We were making jokes about Peggy's dirty pillows and stuff like that, and just you had to be there. And somebody said Peggy in Stitches that I should. But yeah, I've had a couple of requests to start a Facebook group, and I've had a couple of comments about stuff like that. So basically, what does the Facebook group say? A sewing, crafting, and creative space to grow our skills, share our creations, and be our wild and wicked selves is what I had to say. because I say cool shit sometimes. So yeah, I literally just started the group, so come on in, say hi. Everybody's welcome. We're basically we're the same kind of shit that we already do on the channel. Talk about sewing, talk about stuff, talk about witchy stuff, talk about tarot, talk about whatever. But yeah, so this exact same technique I'm gonna make chains of 7, and then I'll be connecting them all together. So I'm gonna be working on this for the rest of the night. Yay! And I have to make 2 more. But yeah, just comment below if you want to comment below if you want a chance to win this little guy. I'll ship anywhere in the world, and we'll do the draw. I'm not going to do the draw tomorrow. No boob tube on Facebook. Who knows, right? We'll do the draw probably Monday or Tuesday. I have been promising to build a quilt on camera. So I'm definitely going to, the next time I'm back doing quilting, we will do the draw on this. And don't let me forget. I had a draw to do before, and then it's like I forgot about it for like a month, and I got her done, but still. Anyway, now we'll come back in a few days. We'll come back probably Monday or Tuesday and draw for this and go from there. But yeah, this makes awesome stuff. And maybe we'll do something a little schmancier, because honestly, when I'm not playing the fuck around and find out game, these can be really, really, really nice looking. Really nice. Well, like that one there. That one, the bigger tote bag, I wasn't. The bigger tote bag, I was being more serious about, and everything's lined up properly and whatever. But now I need to get more straps. Okay. Now I'm just, you know what it is. Now I'm just trying to avoid. I'm trying to avoid getting back to work, because now I'm having more fun just shooting the shit and talking. Anyway, I am going to get going. I am going to go see what the wife's up to, see what we're doing for dinner, or rather what I'm making for dinner, but we'll figure that out as well. And I will see you guys tomorrow. We are talking about the Nazca lines and a couple of other cool things that you guys might not know about that also exist in the area. Or rather, that was found I think it was the area. I'll double check, but yeah. Well, I'll be back. I'll be back sewing and chatting at the same time sooner or later, because yeah, you guys are going to want to see how this looks when you start wrangling the big pieces. But anyway, I'm going to get going. You guys have a great day. I will see you on the next one. Bye.